Good morning and welcome to today's live stream. Make sure as you're tuning into the live stream, leave a like, leave something like that, leave a little subscription if you want to join us every single day as we are live, and we'll do a 15-minute breakdown at the end of this video. So in the next couple hours, just if you're not watching this live, make sure to tune into the last 15 minutes. And remember, you only have till tomorrow night to get the course, okay? To get the course for $149, okay? And then that price is going up. This market has been way more complicated to trade in lately, so you might need some better skills, and those skills can be gained by taking a little course, and this one is very, very good. You can ask people in the chat, but going forward today, we have to look at what's going on here, and we're seeing an upward move. The only worrisome thing about this SPY upward move is we're getting right into the sell zone first thing in the morning, so we have to pay attention to how this could fade. So even though this 2-hour is crossing up, you need to get above this level right here to see some kind of squeezing going on and really turn back to bullish. At this point, though, we have to pay attention to a 30-minute. Still pretty close to positive, or the center line here, so that just tells me, hey, if this rolls over and goes negative, this might fade. Remember, some people, we actually could be getting some kind of reaction down, and then people are fearful that this is going to take over like we did last time right here when we saw a big pop. But overall, I think that would be a fake out. So we're going to pay attention to a 5-minute chart, see if we can scoop that up and end up, above our daily expected move. And if you need those daily expected moves, I'm sorry, YouTube, I just had my video up. It was trying to process all night, and then it finally went through like 3 hours after I wanted to post it. So if you need those levels, 511, 15 to the upside, and we have 498, 91 to the downside. So hopefully you guys are paying attention, because look what that weekly expected move is. It's right by that daily expected move. So if we do fade this entire thing, we can look to end down towards this area by end of day. But I think with the data, right, we can point out the data real quick this morning and just say, hey, look at this. All right, we have non-farm payrolls coming down. Okay, people could see that as good, as the Fed doing their job, and unemployment rate going up. And that this is the data that I could say, what were people going to read into here? Was it going to be, oh, do we want a strong economy, therefore growth, and then that's good news? Or do we want the Fed to be proven that they're doing their job at this point? And as of right now, this data lining up with that, you're seeing a slight uptick in unemployment, which is pretty surprising with the jobs data we've been getting. Actually, I mean, I think you would have maybe even expected this to tick down. So very interesting that we got a 3.9 here. Now it's like, okay, we just got rid of that. We see a huge reaction in the market. And then later on, what do we get? Well, in about 30 minutes, we're going to get the ISM Services PMI. So we're seeing positive reactions across the board. The Qs gapping up above their daily expected move. That's huge. Remember, if we can hold above this level by end of day, you're most likely going to squeeze. We don't get a lot of data or anything like that next week. So this area here going to be very important. But I know that I keep mine a little bit higher up, and I think that if we break out of this zone, that's where I would be a little bit more bullish. But as of right now, you got to say, you take out this high, well, that's the 2-hour curling up. You're probably going to go make a new one. And then this might be a big move that then creates a 2-hour divergence later, because we don't get a lot of data. So if the direction is chosen, I'm expecting some kind of bigger move, and then we see something like this. And then around this time, we are going to pay attention to any kind of signals showing weakness. But we have to pay attention to what's happening as of right now. And if you did miss last night's video, I put it on Patreon, but then it took like 3 hours to process for YouTube. So it is over there if you want to go give it a look. But 433.67 to the upside. We're gapping above that right now, and then 420.13 to the downside. Now, the thing about this is going to cause this 2-hour to go positive. So we're going to pay attention to that 5 minutes, see if we can remain in this zone. If we see that 30-minute curl back over, it's not going to be good news there. Now, Apple seeing a big move up, and we gave you those daily expected moves for Apple. Big move priced in up towards 181 to 182, and we're already at that. So if we're going to see any kind of pullback, I would look for 181, 182, or even our gray zone that we really like. Remember, when we blow past an important zone, what happens? And this zone goes all the way back to October, and we did this exact thing in October. We blew past it, we came back down towards it, we touched the top, and then we went for the next move. That could happen, but this could just keep going. So if this is going to keep going, saying going a lot, we're going to see the 30-minute here. What's going to happen? Well, if we get some kind of pullback for a day or two, well, then that's going to curl back up into positive territory, and we got the next move higher there. So as of right now, Apple choosing the direction still might be affected by the ISM Services PMI. Tesla, not able to get as strong of an upward move. Not the biggest range for Tesla for the daily expected move, but what does that tell me? What does that tell me when I have a small range? Let's say my range is something like this. It's just relatively small. What does that tell me? Well, it tells me if I do see a big move, then we can take over and see something crazy. A little crazier can happen. But if we're going to see it remain in this range, then it's kind of just going to be a little bit of an up and down day, maybe kind of a sideways day. So we'll pay attention to that for Tesla. But remember, Tesla, very, very bullish move after the earnings. Now we can see the second move higher if this hourly MACD is able to turn up into positive territory, and that can get us up towards 205. As we open up here, we're going to click around to Amazon. Amazon seeing a little bit of a push higher. Remember, Amazon, you don't want these 30-minute divergences to prove to confirm down here. And right now, what do they do? Well, we're seeing an upward move. Okay, so we see an upward move. That means, what are we doing? Well, we're coming up into the point where this has to fade at this point to confirm some of those divergences. So as we're seeing Nvidia here testing the area it needs to break out from, so we need that strength to go forward. Remember, we can come down and fill this as some kind of fake and then turn back around, but I believe maybe the direction will be fine, or we'll see some selling until 9 a.m. When we get the next piece of data. Now, AMD, this was a very good one to pay attention to because it's got some divergences down here. It's got some things going on. Now, it's nothing that I'm like going to post and say, oh, this is a great trade. Why? Because, well, it's been beat up a lot. So this is something that you would either treat as an investor or take a chance on. And this direction here has just been pretty straight down, honestly. A little bit of consolidation straight down, consolidation straight down. Now consolidation straight down. So at this point, you do have that big divergence on a 2 hour. The squeeze potential is there. But we need that upward price action to prove a little bit more. I gotta say, oh my goodness, there it is. You know it's gonna be a good day when you get those sneezes out early in the morning. I do apologize for that video not coming out, but thankfully we got some people over on the Patreon, so you guys at least were able to get that. And then we posted it when we could. Pretty much I just left it up on my computer until that thing wanted to post. Okay, let's go over to the SPY, see how this thing's reacting in this zone. And let's just go down into a 5-minute. Remember, we could see some kind of 5-minute pullback. Look, that thing is cooked. So there might be some profit taking up here. Now, why do we think there would be profit taking right here? Well, this is the daily expected move. This is the daily expected move right here. So that means that for the entire day, the options market only priced in a move up to here. If people make this amount, they will be encouraged to take profit. So we can see more selling come in, but if we're able to hold up higher and close above this by end of day, that would be a very, very bullish sign. Right, some upward moves here. Let's go check on something we didn't look at, the Mr. Microsoft. We got to look at Mr. Microsoft. All right. 2 hour for Microsoft starting to make an upward move. Now, remember, this is what we were paying attention to. This is what I posted on Patreon, right? Posted this because this setup here, you had a weekly expected move down in this area. Okay, we see a triple divergence down here, multiple point divergence on the MACD. Now we see an upward move. What can happen from that? The daily can cross over. Okay, so the daily MACD could be crossing over. You guys, if this keeps going up, if we see these daily MACDs cross up, like we see Microsoft get above this high and that daily cross up, I would be very hesitant to fight against daily momentum. Very, very hesitant there. Nvidia is up, right? Nvidia is green on the daily MACD. I would be very cautious fighting against this unless you're taking a short-term play, because this can take over or above those moving averages, something we mentioned in last night's video. Hey, we took back one, but can we take back the other two? We'll have to see. As of right now, we're taking it back, so maybe we want to reach down, use that as support. But I just wanted to show you how those are turning up right now, and that just means you have potential to cross up into positive territory right now with this bar. We're seeing a green impression on the histogram down here as well for the SPY, and then on the Qs, you're going to see the same thing, right? We're going to see the same thing on this one here, getting a green impression on the histogram down here. So we still have to go positive to get that full new all-time high, but until then, we can get some kind of lower high. But if this goes positive, watch out. This might be another big run. Alrighty, how we doing in the chat today? Bless you, thank you. Your mom's basement. Frank Jr., welcome. Bernie, Dave, David, Marina, Mark, and Marina again. the Mac, the first one to comment today. Hey, thank you guys for coming in. Thank you guys for liking the stream. Thank you for being here. Miss 76, Miles says good morning. Why do I have my chart looking like that? That looks like a bunghole. All right, now the cool thing about the Qs and why I do want to watch it is because this is the one that gapped above its daily expected move. So now you notice we can use that as support. So we're going to see if this support can come in and then we see that start to go up. But we have to pay attention to the data that drops in about 25 minutes. So we're going to be paying close attention to that. We already went over the other data. All of it pointed as deflationary event. As the Fed is doing their job, we're seeing those the non-farm payrolls come down, and we're seeing unemployment go up. The two things that the Fed really wants to see at this point, and they said they're paying more attention to the jobs and not inflation. So we'll have to see how people react to PMI. Now, those are two very good things, but just know unemployment's ticking up. Like overall, you would say it's not the best thing. It's good for inflation, but it is bad in the scenario of we could go into a serious recession. And where the economy is at, we're pretty much there. I can't. It's funny because we've been getting so many layoffs from so many big companies, but the unemployment hasn't ticked up till just now. So very interesting with that data. Now we have to pay attention to the next rock. So if you're able to make money here, it's great. It's great. If you're a day trader or something like that, you know, hey, this is pretty much as much money as I'm supposed to make today, according to the options market for the Qs. So taking some off the table here, letting the rest ride would be what I would do in this scenario. The Dow actually going forward, making a big upward move there. And here's the other big thing about this move right now that I wanted to point out this morning. HYG is confirming the move as well. HYG is confirming the move. TLT is confirming the move right here. So we have plenty going on to convince us, hey, this is actually a real thing. Oh yeah, Qualcomm. Okay. This one here, I would mainly go into a 30-minute. The thing is, this thing is ripping to the upside after an earnings. You guys, it's very similar how we talk about things after earnings. Do you want to YOLO into something? Well, if you're an investor, you can look on a daily scale and say, okay, this crossed up positive territory, but I'd be worried about some divergence here still and see if that fades. So on the 30 minutes, should I be taking upside? Not really. This is not the best entry point. Even if this went up higher, the smarter trade is to wait for that to pull down and then come down like this, and then your entry's here, right? We do something like this. So as of right now, you're seeing this happen. We could come even go and fill all the way down to this gap before that makes the next move higher. So we could keep going, but unless you're treating this as an investment, even from an investment standpoint, I would not be buying too much at that level. But that doesn't mean I know everything about the stock. If you think, you know, things look good, okay, I've looked at PE ratios. I've looked at all this. Actually, let's look at that PE ratio real quick. Let's see what that thing looks like. Yeah, 2205, not the worst. Remember, AMD's at another 0 to that. That's where AMD is. Should have taken the coin flip play. I know, we got to keep this coin, guys. We got to keep this guy. It told us everything. It told us everything, you know? And then we'll check on gold as well. One big thing about volatility is now that we got that data and we've gotten some serious direction down, we're closing definitively. If we close like this today, it looks like a squeeze is going to come. It looks like some kind of bullishness because you never know what can happen over a weekend with the headlines. But overall, you would say, hey, now this thing is negative territory as of today. So if this is in negative territory, the direction is most likely down. Maybe a reaction to 13 or 12.12, right? 13 or 12.12. So the fact that we don't have like 13 here, the fact that we don't necessarily get any data going on next week, you would say 12.12, unless something is ripped away in 20 minutes, right? We still have data in 20 minutes. Don't forget about that. Now the dollar really dropping off, but able to gain some steam with that 50. So we'll pay attention to that going forward. But as of right now, you have to say the direction for the dollar looks a little bit weak here. It looks down. Okay, so maybe we pop out of this zone. What do we do? Well, maybe we want to test that zone again before heading higher, right? We did that last time. We popped through an important zone, tested the top. Now we break through. What if we go down all the way into here just to test again and then see the next move up? We'll have to see. I'm waiting for this daily MACD. Maybe that curls up into positive territory later on. That's what I'm really paying attention to there. All right, going back over to the Qs, just trying to see if we are going to fade this move at all. And I'd really still be paying attention to my 30-minute charts. Those are going to be some good confirmations of downside right now. Everything's still kind of climbing. You can see it here. Maybe we'll just do a 30-minute because, you know, those 5-minute bars are a little wonky. But you're still noticing the 30-minute relatively close to that, that center line. Things over here, if you're part of the Patreon, we're going to talk about these real quick. IWM fading at its daily expected move right up towards its weekly. Apple fading its move, but it's above its daily and above its monthly. Tesla trying to make a move upward, but not really making any steam towards a daily expected move yet. Amazon fading the move, but didn't get towards its daily expected move. Nvidia needs to blow through its, but that daily expected move is right at that previous high. AMD reaching for the skies, but it does have a daily expected move above it. So it would be interesting, but I think the data could either force these to pull back or force some kind of positivity, right? More positivity can come. Something crazy can happen above those daily expected moves. So if you were a day trader or something, I would say, hey, take profit, let the rest ride, because take profit, you're already at the area, but let the rest ride is overall what I would say. Now, Google trying to make the next upward move, but fading it as of right now. So that's something we can pay attention to. And TLT is actually going outside of its weekly expected move. So if this data is following, like, say, TLT's weekly expected move and the options market gets it right, then TLT would be saying, we're about to get a bad print at 9 o'clock. So just be ready, have some stops in place just in case, because this can go away very quickly. So where would I put my stop? Well, maybe the bottom of this zone, right? 432.66, something like that. Because I know if we go up to this zone, we sell off. We sell off. Okay, so I just say if we get outside of that zone, I'm done with this one. That's some good stuff all around, honestly. Really good push from Microsoft going up 1.85%, and that's the trade that we are liking. And I'm going to sell that, making about... We're going to sell this guy. Done there. Okay, let's look at what gain that was. About 125% on Microsoft today. I'm going to take it as we are above our weekly expected move, just to show you guys Microsoft real quick. That thing making a good upward move. I still have a longer term play on this for if we get a squeeze, but notice I'm practicing what I preach. I'm taking profit in this area and letting some other ones ride. That's what I'm doing, and I still have a volatility hedge that I'm willing to lose all of, and I just made all of that money back and some in one trade. So even if this thing does not pop by end of day, which we're not seeing any signals down here, this has to pop. You have one little divergence here, flatness of the RSI down here, which could lead to a pullback, but not some kind of significant drop. What are we seeing on the 2 hour? Unless these signals get it wrong, the 2 hour, you still have that divergence play in there. Okay, so if we are going to see volatility creep back up right now, well, we're going to see this 2 hour gain some steam here. You can see the divergence here and the flatness in the nearest divergence right there. You see the triple divergence across the way here. So volatility still can come back in, but as things keep scaling up, we just have to see if that data is the thing that rips us back down. Now, will that data really be able to? We got 2 pieces of good data, and then what if 1 piece of bad data? It's like, well, maybe that's just some kind of pullback. Okay, so we're paying attention to this, but notice where the resistance is coming in. Our red lines, isn't that great? The red lines producing some good stuff here. Microsoft still running a little bit for 0536. Good SPY day for me. Welcome, Paracosmic. Congratulations. Good morning. Sorry I'm late. Fucking Walmart. Hey, it's all right. What do you think about Bitcoin move right now? Here's the thing. Bitcoin is actually we've been following Bitcoin pretty well. But this big push here kind of convinces you maybe we're not going to see that anymore from the stock market, right? This drop right here never really happened too much in the stock market, I would say. This didn't fully go to a new low. We just kind of held up a little better. So what does that tell me? Okay, now it's making the upward move. What do I need to pay attention? I need to pay attention to my 4 hours. I need to pay attention to 2 hours. No divergences down here or anything. But if that daily can curl back up, well, it's been beat up for a long time. It's been beat up for a while, so this could have been the fake out to the downside, some kind of trap. We build back up over the next couple of days, and then boom, we start to go off to the races. So what I'd be paying attention to, especially on the weekly here, that has crossed over. So any bounce that we do get here could be brief. All right, now you don't have divergence or anything like that. So if you wanted to go create some kind of little divergence first and then see that ripped away, that could happen. As of right now, seeing that curl down, touches that 20-week moving average, Now we're buying back up. So you would still say the direction here still in positive territory. Even with this curl down, you want to see some signals that you're actually going to fade here. If anything, you're just seeing you're still within a flag. Okay, you broke outside of it. Now you're back in it. Okay, well, we're going to probably do something like this maybe and then keep going. We'll have to see. Now, if we just blow past that, we get some kind of squeeze that can happen as well. Microsoft still just a good move. Remember that 2-hour divergence likes to curl up the daily MACD, and that's what we're seeing here if that daily MACD can roll up. Oh yeah, gold. Sorry about that. Yeah, my brain's a little bit everywhere, but gold here dropping down to lower levels. Now, this would say that the inflation play is off for now, but one thing to pay attention to with gold is if we create some kind of divergence. Now, this could pop with the data. But I'm still leaning towards a test of 207.80. I'm leaning towards some kind of test in this area right here, and then maybe we'll see what happens from there. As of right now, you have little divergences. Let's look at a 2-hour just in case. What do we see? No divergences confirming yet. Now you're in the falling wedge and everything. You can see some kind of reaction up, but that could just be a retest, and then we start to fade back down. But gold here, still tipping over. Remember, this was the gold play that I took right up here. If I can draw today, right up here, boom, that dropped off to 14. Now it curled up towards the center line, curled back down. So curled up to the center line, curled back down. Okay, big drop. Now we're kind of seeing us taper off. We're not continuing that selling. So as of right now, you would say if it keeps this tapering, it has some little tiny divergences in here that you can maybe read into for some kind of, I would say, pop. But is that going to fade later on? I'd assume so. I'd assume we get some kind of test like this, go up into this liquidity, and then see that fade if we see some bullishness for gold. Not enough to tell me that the thing has to be bullish unless this 2-hour wants to go positive here. Then that can get really, really extended to the upside. The Qs are just blowing past it. Look at the 2-hour rolling up. So now we can pay a little less attention to that 30-minute, but we still have to watch 15 minutes from now we get data. If that actual versus 50.9, let me go look at that too. It's kind of been flipping around the expected over the last couple of over the last week or so. The expected has changed a little bit, which is interesting. But PMI previous was 51.4, and now it's expected to come in 52.0, 52 or 51.8. So previous, that would be technically a tick up from the previous. So that would be something people can read into. But I'd say anything below, I mean, if we can just match 51.4, this is really going to take over. We might just keep squeezing. Nice little play for Microsoft for the day. And I think I'm going to let that bad boy ride. I'm still up another 100% on my other option, but I do have it for longer term, so I think I'm going to keep that thing. We'll have to see what happens. Now, AMD, still wanted to talk about this. Remember, this needs to confirm to see that full bullishness. Need to get above here to really get that squeeze going. Need to get above this high. So if we can get AMD back above 162, that's going to be a very bullish sign. Even if we get some kind of retest and then go look for that breakout, that's going to be pretty good. So if I wanted to play this, I'd probably play this area here. Okay, we bounce up, then we see some kind of 15-minute curl down and curl back up. That's how I'd be looking at it. But we'll see what happens from here. We've been beat up for a while for AMD, so we'll have to find out. Nvidia able to break through, cross over on the 2-hour. That is huge. Now you can see that big move from Nvidia going forward. My option right here that I sold out of, yes, I made like 2 or 3. I think I made 300% on that one. Yeah, that one there. But if I would have held this thing, it probably would have printed even better. But we got to take our wins, you know. We got to take it. We got to take what we can get. I killed that Apple 185 call yesterday. Let's go, Jay. Good morning. Good morning. So, bro, sound is funny, but are you broadcasting from your house basement? Yeah, so I actually just moved here. Why does the mic sound funny? Let me see why that mic sounds funny. Because someone was saying it in the video as well. I wonder if I can do like playback on this thing or something. Let's see. Test. Why does it sound funny? It doesn't sound funny. This sounds pretty pretty much what it's supposed to sound like. Someone else was saying it sounded funny. But yeah, I mean, I'm currently in a basement. I'm shopping for a house right now. I actually went and looked at houses. I just moved here back to Kansas from Georgia. Probably back in, what was that, mid-November? Mike sounds fine. Okay, cool. Some people were saying that on in my YouTube comments as well. Tesla looks bullish. Yeah, Tesla, we're not bearish on whatsoever. This looks like the pullback. Now you look at an hourly. Hourly curls up, positive territory. Google was fading, so I do want to pay attention to that. Google fading, that's something to worry about a little bit there, but... Took profit on the Goog, just in case. Now, one thing with the Goog is you got the if you're part of the Patreon, you know the weekly expected move is here, and you have the daily expected moves for this. So, I mean, we can take a look at that real quick. The Googs still have room to that upside daily expected move, but as you are trying to fight back into that that weekly expected move, that's something to pay attention to going forward. But pretty much you can see the upward move here, but overall you're going to struggle right here if you see that upward move. You're going to struggle right where you should, right? Cup, little handle. That would make sense for today. Creating the fully making the cup and then creating some kind of handle by end of day would make a lot of sense. SMCI, let's see how this thing's reacting. Boom. Okay, curls up on the 2 hour. If that goes positive, this thing can scream as well, able to get some kind of higher low at this point, unless this fades. We still have to pay attention to what's happening in 9 minutes, right? Micro strategies, let's get into this one here. Now, 2 hours is what I overall like. I didn't realize I was on a 1 hour. Now, micro strategies, yes, you do have divergence on the MACD, pretty significant, but just flatness on the RSI. So this here does have the opportunity to reverse around and have that daily cross up, but as of right now, you would say also I'm just having flatness of the RSI, so I have to be open to some kind of pullback. But how this wanted to go up, look at this right here. Okay, left, we react up to this level of 1350, boom, we react back down. Now you have a nice little structure here for you to head up. If we're going to curl down, I would really pay, actually, I would really be looking at an hourly, I think, maybe a 30-minute. Let's look at the... Yeah, still 30-minute. If that rolls and goes negative, then you're going to fill this gap and probably keep going and test the lows. So you just really want to be on pretty much everyone, you want to be on your toes in the next 8 minutes. You want to be on your toes and have some stops in place or something, because in the next 10 minutes, it's pretty much, are we going to get the piece of data today that just skyrockets everything and squeezes everything even harder? Or is all of this ripped away, like back over here, like right here? We'll have to see. You know me. We cut above this high. I'm starting to think we're squeezing from this level. SPY, we're cutting above this high. I'm starting to think we're squeezing above this level. That's very likely to happen now that we're outside of the daily expected move. Because you're still within the weekly. So technically, we could end the entire day still within that weekly, and it would make total sense. And then that just keeps going later on, or we consolidate on Monday and keep going. So we'll pay attention to a lot of that going forward. Looks like Microsoft is trying to get above 2%, but not able to. So a good point for me to sell a little bit right there. AMD almost up 2%. Got to keep our eye on this one. Remember, it's in an important zone, so we can burst its way out of this, get above this high. Very, very good move coming for AMD if it's able to turn around that daily. Microsoft already getting that move. It's above its daily expected move too, so something crazy can happen if we get some good data. Mara liking that reaction. Bitcoin, you know, getting some upward move. Now we're seeing this go up. Interesting to see Mara not drop off a little harder, but higher low. So ABC pattern could play out here. Not necessarily the best cup and handle or anything like that. I would just say this looks like some kind of boom, boom, and then we'll see it maybe go up to here. Where's it going to go? Probably towards our gray zone. Remember, this is where we sold off from last time. Palo Alto I haven't looked at in a while. No one's asking about that. It's still within its flag. Oh my god, I haven't looked at this all week, and look at that. It's still within its flag. So, Oh, this is not good. But if you can break out of this flag, you've built up a ton of liquidity here. If it gets positivity, that all of this energy could be released this way. Okay, so I would really be on your toes with if you're trying to trade Palo Alto, because if that rolls over and goes negative, you're in a flag and you've consolidated for quite some time. You can start to crash down to lower levels. At this point, you could also argue, this is some kind of wonky, like thin left head and then right shoulder, right? You still can argue that. There's a way up and there's a way down. And we're just paying attention to both. Q's just screaming higher, man. They just keep going. We got 5 minutes, guys. 5 more minutes. White line's not a VWAP. That's the 200. I don't use VWAPs. I tried to use them for a while. It just didn't add anything to make my strategies better. My strategies, if you literally want exactly how I trade and how I'm making 200% or whatever today, get the course this weekend. If you need to be able to gain some skills to trade in a more complicated market, that course is going to be great. It's for $149 until tomorrow night. So I would really snag that up and use the opportunity of the weekend to learn a lot about this stuff. But that being said, I don't use VWAP. It didn't add anything to my strategy, right? So I didn't feel like it gave me an edge further than what I have already. So I just don't mess with it. I'm kind of just like, if it's, I like to keep it simple, and if it's going to make things more complicated, I'm not going to do it. If it's another thing that I have to be like, okay, I have to check mark that as well. No, I just create my 3 to 5 reasons. What data is coming out? Yeah, the PMI. ISM Services PMI. Yeah, Services PMI comes out in 4 minutes. Do I think Apple hits 200? I mean, I don't know if it goes, like, if you're saying today, I can't tell you that much, but I can say that we have a good shot for a retest anywhere along this trend line. I could say that. Now, if you're trying to create some zones up here, remember, this is a zone we really paid attention to. Where are we starting to halt? Right at that zone. So this is a zone that was important in the past, right? We react up above it, we react down to the bottom of it, then we burst out of it, we gap out of it right here, we gap all the way below it, so we know it's important now. We react up to it, we find resistance, we react up to it, we resist, we touch back in it, okay, we go up, now we gap through it again, very important. We blow through it with price action, we blow through it with selling, we retest it, we drop off. I'm just explaining this zone is very important, okay? And Apple's already there right now. If you notice, the daily is actually almost overbought. So if you want to get bullish and see this go up from here above 200, well, you got to get above that zone. You got to do what we did in the past, okay? You got to react, come back down, then react again. That can happen, but as of right now, it's most likely leading towards we're going to see some kind of squeeze up and then just see that fade. Now, if we want to see that squeeze up and come back like this, just know this is a resistance zone. You blew past one, so now you're going to the other. What if we do this whole thing too to blow through it, right? Retest the previous zone. So 200, I can't tell you right now. We need more price action. But as of right now, the daily going positive is a good sign. If the data comes in too high or too low, what's good for the market? Well, technically a lower PMI is good for the market. The data report hasn't come. You guys, we got 2 minutes. There's so much data too. Search this stuff. All right, we got about, what, 30 seconds? 30 seconds. We got the PMI coming in very, very soon. Let's just see the Qs, see how they're going to react from this. Probably go down into a 30-minute. Remember, that 30-minute curls down. all of this can be ripped away. If this is good news, maybe people are reading into it a little bit, and then we see that start to squeeze because we're above this level. So we have squeeze potential is here now. But we'll have to see what that actual print is. We got a few seconds left here. Yes. PMI is known as a what? Like a leading indicator of economic growth. Yeah, it's like a leading indicator of the strength in the economy. All right, let's see what happened. Versus PMI 49.4. This is where you have to see if people read into it differently, right? The strength of the economy down. Okay, is that still seen as good news from the inflation standpoint? Yes, it is. It's actually saying that inflation is going to pull back down, but we'll have to see. Now we're seeing a lot of stuff. Well, first reaction down. What can we do? We can look at little 5 minutes and stuff like that. See if we can curl up at any time. We're in positive territory. So now we're thinking, hey, what if this thing just curls down, curls back up? That can very well happen. So we'll have to see what the overall narrative is going across the board. But this most likely should go up from here, which is kind of crazy to say as we are above the daily expected move. So if the options today really want to mess with people, well, they can close the day here, and then that squeeze happens next week. Down we go, baby. SPY put printing. Really? I mean, you day traders are crazy. Your price action of SPY put printing is like a tiny bar like this. When my stuff like starts to print is like a move like that. Low PMI, contracting economy, lower corporate profits, bad for market. Am I wrong? Well, you're not necessarily wrong, Paracosm, but add the inflation in there. So now talk about it on the basis of inflation. High PMI, high growth, higher inflation, bad for the market, technically. PMI, low PMI, contracting economy, put it that way, and then say lower corporate profits, but deflationary. So at this point, you would say, okay, that's actually a deflationary thing. Okay, now you're printing. But that's very good that you say that, because look how people are reading into it right now. Right away, they're reading into it as, oh, this is bad. We're not growing anymore. The outlook is bad for the economy now. But maybe by end of day, people start to think, oh, but this is good for inflation. And good morning, JS. I just saw you cheers me with a cup of coffee. Banked off Apple calls this morning. Capture this. Welcome and good job. So we just have to see the good part to do with data like that, where you can kind of like Paracosm did. There's two ways to look at it. Two things you got to keep in mind is one thing you really have to do is be patient. You have to see what the actual reaction is by the end of day. That's why it's very hard for day traders during data drops and things like that. Like you can make a quick buck, right? Quick buck from seeing a downward push after you see a piece of data and you read which way that's going. But by end of day, I have to be a little bit more careful because I'm not a day trader. J. Cole, good morning. Thanks for your insight on the Apple play. And I hope you guys were reading into, I'm still like, hey, don't play earnings. But from a risk to reward standpoint, Apple was looking pretty decent, right? Everyone was beating up on it. I was just like, it looks pretty good. Did I play it? No, I played other things. I played Microsoft on a shorter term play, and that printed. And then I played Nvidia on a shorter term play with it, and that printed. So I'm out of those now, though, and I have my position plays set up now. 200 people in here. Hey, that's what's up. Now, if we can get some likes for the channel, that'd be great. Any plays for today? I still have calls on Microsoft. I'm just waiting for the full structure here. So I'm not going to be eaten alive by anything. Of course, I'm paying attention to how I can get ruined in my trade. Probably looking at this hourly, if that curls back down, or if I see 5-minute or 15-minute divergence in this move. But as of right now, I just want to point out the daily momentum here still can go in control. And so the 2 hours, what I'm looking at, remember, this is the trade I'm in. So I have a position on this for, I think, 3 to 4 weeks. And I'm just seeing, hey, does that curl up that daily MACD? If it doesn't, well, I took a shorter term play on Microsoft to pay for this. pretty much. So any loss I experience here is just going to break me even. So I'm just taking this play up. If I can cross above this high, I know I can hold it. The afternoon video is super helpful too. I get some great cues. Oh, okay, good. Well, hopefully the afternoon video you were able to get it, because I know that YouTube, I don't know what was going on. Hey, Eric Zhao. I like Zhao. I like the word. It might be Zoo, but it's Zhao here. I like it. Thank you so much for subscribing. Welcome aboard. Welcome to the boat. And we're going down the stream and we're trading like water. Should that what we do? We should be pirates. That's what I'll make my membership in the future. Pirates. Apple numbers were horrible. My buyback is the only reason it went up into crazy. And the thing is about this, it's like, when I was talking about this, I'm overall just like, hey, these are good. Apple numbers are horrible. And people are like, yeah, the news from Apple was horrible. It's terrible. Well, not according to the price action. That's what I'm talking about. When I say if this is good or bad, I don't care. I'm going to be very honest. I do not care what this says. I care about this, right? So if you're one of those guys saying right now the Apple earnings was bad, you are wrong. I'm going to point that out because I'm kind of I've seen a lot of comments saying, hey, Apple earnings was really, really bad. Not according to the price action. Follow the price action, guys. It's like, it's really frustrating to see people like, oh, Tesla's earnings were really bad. It's like, yes, the numbers were bad, but the earnings is proven to be good by the price action. And if that fades later on, that's going to probably be because of that news being a rumor and not coming true. And yes, the buybacks helped capture this. Don't get that wrong. The buybacks, they not only did that, they confirmed the dividend, and then they also projected more stuff for their AI, more stuff for their little googly goggles that everyone in California is wearing on the street. All that stuff is good. But it's like, I just don't like when people are like, yeah, Apple's earnings were terrible. It's like, they really weren't. I mean, their iPhone sales are down, but if they give a buyback, it's going to be a good earnings, right? People will see it as good. And yeah, I just would highly encourage you guys to really pay attention to price action instead of like, oh, this is bad. Now you can pay attention to that and say, well, I'm in a sell zone now, and if you truly believe that that is bad, well, what would happen to Apple? Well, apparently it's going to fall over the next month, right? But the direction is chosen here. Don't get caught up in trying to short something like this. Yeah, the goggles sold out. Everyone's like, I don't want to live in this world anymore. Things are too expensive. So let me buy this expensive headgear that I can just... I've seen videos of people literally just like... Anything can be spun anyway. Apple EPS seems like what it's always been. I would not see it as negative. I wouldn't either. But I would just say the second part there is very good, Jonathan. Anything can be spun in any way, and that's what we're talking about with the data right now. Who's to say this data is going to collapse, this right here, because we just got two pieces of good data, and people could actually read into that data and say, oh, weakening economy, stocks go down. But actually, what if they read into it and say, Fed is doing their job, stocks go up by the end of the day? All right, I'll take you on that, Apex. I'll take you on that. And we know this is manipulation. Have you seen that daily chart for the Qs? We talked about manipulation a few weeks ago. We were like, this market's manipulated. It's about to crash down in April. Boom, we get some kind of correction in April. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I can respect that statement. Price action is for traders. Fundamentally, it was bad. Both can be true. Now, Apex, in your opinion, what was the top 3 bad things about their earnings? These Googles give me vertigo. Here's $5,000 for them. Dude, hey, you guys know, I got that thing called, I don't even know what it's called. What's the I got a Meta Quest, I got one of those things where I can play Beat Saber. I like Beat Saber. Expert, homie. But I don't play anymore because dad life and work life, that's all I do. Google down. Okay, actually, I need to look at that. So Google kind of confirming a move down here. Let's see. 30-minute rolls down, negative territory. Google might give it up here. Why is Google going down? Oh, are they having troubles in the Google Play Store with Fortnite? Is that... Wait, why? Like, what? Dad gang Miles. All right, so maybe someone else has better information on the fundamental side, but you'd say 30-minute crosses down. Well, if we take out this low, it's not going to look good for Google. Plus 266.7% today out of all. Nice job, Paracosm. Congratulations. I'm gonna chill on some stuff, let some money ride. We're gonna chill and let some money ride, but hopefully Google has different news. If Google's going down because of Fortnite. But when they say the market can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent, yes, it's exactly because the market can pump over bearish earnings data. Just look at today ISM numbers. Exactly, and the thing is, if you were in a different person's shoes back to the future, that data is bullish. All that data is bad for everyone. It just screams like, hey, if this is what we need to happen in order to fight inflation, it's going to go into a recession, depression, maybe. But but the market's going to go up because what? The Fed has made things very confusing. What did you guys in the chat, what did you say over and over again the day after the Fed? It's confusion, or the day of the Fed. Is confusion, right? You know it looks like confusion? This right here, this is confusion. Doing this, doing this, doing this, doing this, now doing this, and then starting to fade that. That's all pretty confusing to me. That's why I'm staying on my toes, trading like water, and just following my signals to a T, and it's printing right now. So so it's like ENPH. I've looked at that before. Got that today because you showed me the daily expected move tactic, and it helps me so much with day trading. I knew exactly what SPY would do this morning. Thank you, Paracosm. There you go. You want to buy me a $5 coffee? No, I'm just kidding. Congratulations, Paracosm. Good job out there. Let me go take a look. I'll take a look at some other stuff. I actually have looked at this guy before. I actually was a person who was pretty adamant about some energy stocks. Now, what's happening here on the daily scale? Okay, well, you're piling up, okay? So this here actually could be an opportunity to get back above the 200-day moving average. You kind of have yourself a flag here, right? Look at that flag going on. So if you can cross and get above the 200, this might be a good buy. This right here, pretty solid buy as far as an investor goes. Now, if you're looking shorter time frames, you're probably like, oh, 30-minute overbought, okay. So what would I look for? See if this just curls down lightly, maybe doesn't even cut this low. You have a low, you have a higher low, so now you have a high, a higher high. What if this just does this and then breaks out of that? Okay, so I'd be looking for this to curl up one more time, and then after that, I'd probably be looking at a 2 hour, see if I see anything here. Well, what do I see here? Double bottom. What do I see here? Triple divergence. What do I see here? Triple divergence on the RSI. Okay, so this is looking like a solid play up that can roll up the daily, and that's happening right now. You just might want to wait on like a 30-minute or a 15-minute to actually get an entry. But if you want to get in on this now, it makes sense. You just got to pay attention to how you can be hurt by the trade, and that overall would be a 30-minute curling back down into negative territory, crossing through this level. So that looks a little bit unlikely. What a great morning. Hope everyone's doing extremely well, except for the short sellers. Short sellers, take a trip to your local drugstore. Opinion on NEP. Yeah, we can look at NEP real quick. I don't know how high that could go. I would just play those highs, like just creating that GG's. Who said GG's? Paracosm, thank you so much for the 149. All right. That bought me a sip of coffee. I'm down. Thank you so much, Paracosm. Congratulations on your winnings for the day. Please join back at the casino at your next opportunity. The NEP, all right. Now, this one I have not seen before, so I have to look at it on a daily scale. Okay, kind of, not as similar, but I could understand this one. pretty much in a range. Okay, so let's really look at this thing here. This level, very important that you're testing right now. You break out of that, you get above the 200, could be seen as pretty bullish. We'll have to see. Now, I would just say something like this. Now, I know this doesn't look the best, and maybe we should just do a little like range down here, say this and this. Alrighty, we got a range, pretty tight range, so a big move could be coming. What would happen if that's distributed upward here? This would be a great, like a little investment if that can get above the 200 and we see that big push. We'll have to see. Now, what are we seeing on the 2 hour here? Could you have found an entry? Nothing necessarily right now, actually coming above this level here. So the best point to take a trade, not necessarily maybe a buy and hold, but to take a trade, no. Most likely, I would want to see this make a big move up, get a retest, and I'd rather see that retest and confirmation before I enter into that trade. That's what I would say going forward. Paracosm and Paracosm given two donations, $5 as well in the super chat. Is that a sticker? Is that a sticker? Is that a unicorn sticker? Okay, but that's what I'd say about NEP. I think on the daily scale it looks good. Let's look at it on a weekly. Let's see if it's a decent buy. Well, you're climbing up towards positive territory. You're taking back the moving averages of the 20-week. All right, so you can see a reaction up from here. Now, if we look way back, what would we say? Well, as far as an investment goes, this is a great level. This is a great level to, you know, if you know more about the stock than I do, if you know the fundamentals a little more, you know about the PE ratio, you know about the earnings, you know about all that stuff, this would be a level where people are trying to invest. So I totally understand why you're asking that question today. And as a trader, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. You're below the 200. I would treat it more from an investment standpoint. Let's see what the QQs are doing right now. Everyone's saying, hey, everything's going to hell after that that report there, but we're still in this zone until we break out of it. Nah, SPY going down. Hey, it could. It could, Paracosm. I believe in you, man. Feeling a small pump back to 1.3% is coming for the SPY. So, I don't know. We're still not even within that daily. Remember, we're outside of it now, so what happens? We can use it as support to head higher. Let's see if we break down through it and cross over on this 5. Now, we could still see a big 5-minute drop and then see that turn back up by end of day. We'll pay attention to that. What we don't want to see here is the 30-minute crossover, and I'm genuine about this. I do not think you want to see the 30-minute crossover, even where it's at right now. I would not like to see that, and I will probably get out of all of my longs if I see this actually crossover today. I will probably be out of all my longs. Now, that being said, I can pay attention to a shorter time frame, a 5-minute, just to make sure I'm not seeing anything that could scare me out. Let's fill that gap. You can, but just remember, we're not even losing that daily expected move yet. Playmaker. Whoosh. You guys know what I did this morning? I woke up at like 5:30 a.m. because Ari, my baby girl, she's been a little fussy lately and she wanted to go to bed really early. Like she was getting tired at like 9:15. So we kind of put her down and I just passed out. I woke up at like 5:30 a.m. and I was like, crap, now I got to do. So I was like, hey, I'm alone. I'm awake. I can just like drink a body armor and get some little vitamins or something in me and play video games. I got to play video games for an hour and a half this morning, and it has been one of the best moments of my week. Can we look at the VIX? Yes, we can. Just wanted to share when I actually get to do something I enjoy for once. And I enjoy being here with you guys. Don't talk like that. Don't get that in your head. Now, this here is, you know, you're going to see a lot of oversold stuff. Right, we're seeing a lot of oversold stuff for the VIX, you know, bad reading, right? But the main thing you have to pay attention to is the 2 hour. If the 2 hour can still curl up by end of day, then all of this was for nothing. Okay, you have to close above that level on the SPY and the Qs in order to really probably squeeze next week. If we're going to see this drop off for some time, well, it might be a scenario where we drop off for a couple more weeks and then volatility scales up and then Nvidia gives earnings and then we see volatility drop off. Yo, Playmaker, that's the dream right there these days, is just being able to play a little game. I might even start waking up at 5:30 a.m. and play Final Fantasy VII again because I'm a nerd. Money market gaming. You guys I play Valorant. I used to do League of Legends tournaments. If you guys know who Dyrus is, I played in a tournament that he was in once, and then TFT is what me and my wife play together. And then if I'm chilling, I like to play Final Fantasy or KOTOR. Yeah, I have Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9 on my Xbox. All right, but let's keep talking about volatility here, okay? So if volatility crosses up like this, what does that mean? That means I have a triple divergence here on the MACD and RSI at the same time. So we're in a point where we could sell off for the SPY as well. And what would happen if that curled up? Well, you have the potential for the daily to curl up again. So pay attention. Public, Old Republic, yeah, that's what I have. I have both of them on my laptop. This laptop, actually. This one right here. So what could happen from here? Boom, a spike in volatility. Maybe that's when we get a high or a lower high, and then that's when the real squeeze comes. We'll have to see. But I'm really thinking we squeeze now, and then we do a sell in May and go away type thing. And then later on over the summer, maybe we experience one big bounce, and then we start to crash down, going on into probably maybe like November, actually, October, November, something like that. We'll have to see, though. This could last. This bullishness could last all the way until 2025. So we're just paying attention to the signals. We will notify you the times to pay attention, and those reversals can happen. But if you've been following this channel for a long time, then you know right after those do not confirm the downside, we are very quick to flip back around. Now, one thing to note here on the daily, look at that. Testing the 50. So if we start to break down below this level, remember, we got to close the day above this high for us to be bullish again. And then I'd say if we get above this, then yeah, we can maybe make a new all-time high. I'm not necessarily stochastic. Now, Bollinger Bands I only use on the daily. Bollinger Bands I use on the daily and weekly scale. I don't necessarily... so here's the thing. I know my strategy is good on the shorter time frames without Bollinger Bands, so I feel no need to change anything. When something is working for you, look how to make those little things better, not add something that can create a problem. That's overall what I've been doing. And so therefore, I know that I like my Bollinger Bands for daily signals. I know that if this 5-day moving averages crosses above the 20, then I'm going to have a 90% chance to test top Bollinger. So that tells me if this 5 next week gets above the 20, I can expect us to probably get all the way up towards this monthly expected move, or at least the weekly expected move for next week if it's something like that. So that's how I use Bollinger Bands. Now, on the shorter time frames, if you put them up here, overall, it's not going to stay true as often at a 90% rate for a 30-minute, a 2-hour chart. Maybe a 2-hour would look okay. And you can just go into it like here. Visibility, hours. Okay, so now it's here, and you can still use them. And as you can see, it makes sense right now, but it's just the signal is too quick a lot of the time, right? We cross today. What do? We test top Bollinger today. And you can see that's slightly helpful maybe as a day trader, but I'm a position trader, and I don't need more things to convince me to get out. I just don't like it as much on the shorter time frames. I don't need another thing. I'm going to use my signals down here. Does that make sense? Second whistleblower dies in Boeing. Yeah, he's in my city, if that's what you're talking about. What's your thoughts on long-term trend lines? Do you give any credence to assets that are long-term unattached price-wise? I would say this. That's kind of my thing here with like these weekly trend lines and things like that. You'll see the main ones that I would pay attention to are the big macro style ones, right? So as you can see, if I just keep zooming out, we're pretty much in a big channel, right? So this channel is pretty important to have. Why? Well, where do we see sell-offs from? Well, we saw a sell-off right after we tried to break out of this channel. Now, we could break out of that channel and just keep doing this, and maybe inflation goes ballistic, but as of right now, it's a good thing to have because it gives you something to look at. If you cross above this high and you just have no idea where this could go, right? No idea. At least this gives you a point to be like, okay, I'm going to focus a little more if we get up to here because that's a big move. That's all I would say about the like trend lines. Now, trend lines for like, so I would say more macro trend lines are good, but you'll see on little stuff. I think it was Nvidia I did a trend line on a shorter time frame, like a 15-minute. I think it was Nvidia. Let me see here. like I do have the trends here to see when they're broken, but am I necessarily taking a trade because a trend line breaks? If it has other signals behind it, do I include a trend line breaking as one of my 5 reasons? Sometimes. But as of right now, you'd say, okay, well, if I break below this trend here, then I could head lower. But a lot of the time, what ends up happening is you do something like this, and then it ends up going higher. So I don't put a lot into this. There's some girl that's on TikTok and YouTube all the time that says, I'm just a trend line trader. And she says she makes a ton of money. And I'm like, maybe that's awesome. I just don't understand her strategy. Her strategy is pretty much like, I make a trend line, and when that breaks, I go short. And when this breaks, I go long. And it's like, okay, but what if it just goes like this? I wouldn't trust that too much. But some people have different strategies. I can't hate on them if they're making money. I don't even know if that answered your question, really. Short-term trend lines, no. Macro, like weekly trend lines, I really like. Daily wedges and things like that. You'll see me change those a lot. So if you look at the SPY, I've changed a lot of this, right? I've taken away a lot of those. I still kept the upper one, but I took away the downward one for now, because when that broke, we retested. Now we could go up to a new high, so I don't necessarily want to read into it too much. With the right stop, that's true, and she does mention that in her video. She has stops and things like that, but she also says that apparently she'll set a buy and then just not have to look at stocks for 2 days, and then it sells and she makes money like 90% of the time. And I was like, I'm just a little bit like, really? It really, like, that's where it's like, I know that I say keep things simple, but that's like so simple that it seems too good to be true. All right, now I'm not hating on anyone, obviously. If they're making money, congratulations to them. We love to see people make money in the market because most people lose it, and I'd rather retailers make money than the big dogs. But social media traders, yeah, that's why you will never see me make short form content for trading strategies or anything like that anymore. I was gonna make short form content because that's what I really was good at on TikTok back in the day, but not doing that as of right now. Now, some people had some stuff for me to look at. You guys keep me on my toes here. Tesla dip, fill the gap. Okay, we're still above the weekly at this point. We need to pay attention to a little bit bigger signals now. We need to pay attention, probably that hourly not turning up, the 30-minute turning up. If that rolls back down, okay. Now we can see, woo, maybe a divergence form, but I want to point this out. I think I'm seeing it right. Tell me if I'm seeing this right. Someone's got to tell me if I'm seeing this right. If I take this point right at this bar, I mean, if you would have got all the way up to here, you might have still a head and shoulders in this move. If you can hold up at that gap fill and react upward, remember keeping 180.92, very, very important for Tesla. But if this wants to roll over and go negative, you might actually end up going oversold on Tesla and head a lot lower. So be on your toes with Tesla. See if we get a reaction from here. Very difficult to see if we're going to head up or down from here right now. You can see I'm kind of slow to comment because this didn't confirm. We're wicking down. Oh, that was a hiccup. We're wicking down. A lot of rejection in this area. Weekly expected move below us. Where's my daily expected moves? Let's do that. I'm going to give you guys those for Tesla. Tesla is out. Wait, nope, that's not Tesla. Fuck. Tesla still has room to the downside to get back into its daily expected move. Let's look at this. Let's look at this. And its daily is still there. So let's look at this. All right, 30-minute. Can we get another point of divergence? Well, that daily expected move sitting right about at 174.50. Okay, so a little bit lower. All right, now this would pull you back into the weekly expected move down here, right towards that 200 on the 15-minute. Okay, so that's as far as I think we would go down unless we see something dramatic. But as of right now, if we can hold up at higher prices, well, what can I pay attention to? The 5-minute positive territory. If that can curl back up with this gap area here, boom, curls back up, we could see that big move. It almost looks like a head and shoulder. It's like so close to really looking like some kind of head and shoulders. very hard to comment on Tesla right now. I'm going to be honest. This is one that's stumping me a little bit, and maybe I'm just not thinking simply enough. I would say this is probably going to be the worst, one of the worst analysis I give here, because all I can say here is if the hourly is at the center line, the RSI is at the center line. So if this hourly rejects and goes negative, that's a pretty bearish sign. If this hourly turns back up and crosses and goes positive, that's a good sign. And maybe that's why I'm struggling. On the hourly, it's kind of a 50-50. Should we flip the coin? Should we flip the coin? Time to move that stop up. My CGC trade still marching good, little runners. Nice job, Apex. Let's go. He's feeling risky. He's feeling risky. Dean, trend lines work if you use them correctly. Many prop traders successfully trade trend lines. Okay, so maybe that's what she's doing. See, that could be something that I don't understand. And that's perfectly fine, Dean. Thank you for mentioning that. It's not, you know, like I said, I'm never like hating. I'm just like, it just seems fishy. And I hope that's all right. Flip it for Tesla. All right, we'll flip it for Tesla. No, but okay, but if I do this, flipping coin results, we should do that. We should just flip a coin for a whole week. I'll flip a coin and take trades and make a YouTube video or something like that. Maybe dedicate like $1,000 to it and see what happens. We'll flip a coin to invest into 4 different stocks with $250 and see what happens. All right, we'll flip a coin. It's 50-50 right now. Remember, please, this is not financial advice. This is a fucking coin. Do not hold me to this. And Amila, I'm sorry if you guys don't like cursing, but I'm being honest here. Do not take a trade based on a coin flip. Please. If you do it for fun and just don't read into it whatsoever. All right. Heads is always bullish because we're going heads first. And then tails is because it's our butt. All right. It did pay out for Apple yesterday, Anthony. All right. Do I flip it? Flip it or don't flip it over. Flip it or don't flip it over. Last time we flipped it over. Heads bullish. Tails bearish. Flip it. Flip it. Flip it. Yeah, I would never. You little shit. Tails. 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 I'm flipping it. What is it? Can you guys see it? What is it? Uh-oh! Uh-oh! I swear, though, you guys. I swear, though, man. This can be 100% wrong, but let's keep the stats on this coin. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to write down the stats for this coin. All right, so far. I'm going to go all the way to the back of my book here and just write down some stats. All right, so far, the magical coin prediction. Apple. Bullish. WL. Win. All right, now we have Tesla. Bullish. All right, let's see if that's a dub or not. I have the magical coin predictions. Apple bullish. So far it's 50. So far it's 1 for 1. I think the South Park economy thing is the best depiction of the stock market I have seen. Which episode? It broke 181 right as you did it. Oh, fudge. All right, let's still pay attention over to the Qs. Still holding above the daily expected move. Nothing being ripped away yet. We got to just be patient here for Tesla, but we have to watch it now because the coin's predicting big things. Oh, I will. Me and my buddy used to just like sit and watch South Park. Like we'd go to the gym and then we'd chill, drink some post-workout back in the day and watch South Park. We need your 25 cents. All right, guys. Just know that if this thing gets 10 right in a row, the worth of this coin is insane. and I'm gonna sell it for like $1 million. What's the time frame for the coin? Well, the time frame for the coin is with this hourly. So the time frame for the coin is, does the hourly turn up or does it cross back down? So we would say by Monday close. It's $1,000,025. Imagine though, imagine the coin gets it right 100% of the time. We're just like, wait, guys, do we read into this now? It gets 10 in a row, right? We're just like, wait. Can we sell it as an NFT or something? Like something stupid? Where's JS? We need some heads we win. JS, we need some crypto info for today. You have any info drops? I bought 15 puts on at 184 for Tesla today. Okay, we'll hope the coin's wrong, guys. We'll hope the coin's wrong. Plus 0.5 slowly. Let's see what the SPY's doing. SPY able to break down, right? Holding it as resistance, but still within the zone. Okay, so we're going to go into a 5-minute. Watch this. 5-minute, what happens, guys? Well, the direction was technically chosen unless this thing wants to give up and roll over on a 30-minute. But right now, that just curls up into positive territory on this 5-minute. That positive trend will continue. It is up big. We need an invest like water coin ETF. Oh, that sounds kind of sick. That sounds kind of sick. What do you guys think for if we make a member page where we go live at the end of the day for members? What do you guys think? Should we be doing should we say like welcome to the boat, you know, like we're on a boat, or I don't know why I'm squinting all weird. I sound like oh god, what's it called? Oh god, there's some show on YouTube where they're like, I can't think of it. Saw, dude. That's the guy I'm thinking of. I need to make what if we made like trade like water t-shirts? I want a sick background on the back though. T-Pain, I'm on a boat. I'm on a boat and it's going fast and wait, that's not. Yeah, that is I'm on a boat. Ahoy, matey! Welcome. We're going to our party tomorrow for a little guy, little 3-year-old birthday party for one of my best friend from high school. His kids turning 3, and they just had a baby like pretty much in the same month as me. So the SPY going forward, we gotta see if it's able to hold in this zone. Remember, we reacted out of it. What do we like to do? We like to get some buyers inside of it and then see the next push. Let's see. Higher or lower? Here's the thing. Higher or lower? The better question is, how would it head higher? How would it head lower? It heads higher if this 5-minute curls up into positive territory and we stay in a positive trend and get above this level here to kind of solidify, hey, we're bullish now. It will head lower if the 30-minute is able to fully cross over, because that would be getting us into negative territory. Therefore, at that negative territory, if we see that really ripped away, don't get any gap support, well, then we could test this low down here, maybe even go make a new one. So we're open to both sides, but something's going higher or lower, well, we can ask the coin for that info and get a 50-50 answer. Missed the top, yeah, so the daily expected moves up here is why some people were buying some shorts up in this area. Totally respect it. It's very, very good. Just make sure to know this is a bullish move still so far. So it is fading right now, but you're seeing that fight back and forth even in these little wicks. Look at the wicks, right? There's a fight in here. So you have the potential to go either way. I'd suggest if you have a good print off of that move, pretty solid move there, a little 2.5 point move. Okay, so what would I do? I'd take some off the table to the downside and move my stop. Tesla 5-minute doesn't look good. Tesla 5-minute, what? This coin, I swear, coin. Supposed to get it right 50% of the time. Oh, it got one right yesterday. So technically today, even though it's mutually exclusive spins, damn, it's starting to be a little probable to get that 50% that it's going to go down. Shoot, stupid coin. Liquidity pool that you and a couple of others chart wizards invest. All right, let's do it. Let's go. Once we see a big crash, we're all gonna pile up $1 million together, and we're just gonna all get into home builders. Easiest way to times 20 your money over 10 years. Just take a look at Nail. Ticker Nail. Anytime that bad boy goes to $5, you buy it. Was feeling dangerous and bought a put on Apple. When? Just now? Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Apple. Apple's gonna be hard to say. If this thing keeps going up, well, watch out. 5-minute divergence. We could sell off from there, but I won't be fighting against this daily momentum. Hello, just joining in. Thoughts on Tesla going forward? Well, the magical coin said Tesla's going up, but that is, I would not take a trade based on that. So the actual info you need to know here, hourly. I just want to tell you right now, the hourly here, the technicals are saying on the hourly scale, hey, 50-50 flip. All right, they're saying I could roll over here, go negative, or I could curl up to go positive. So wait for that reaction, get that confirmation, and then boom, you'll see that go up. And if we break through this level here, you know what? Hey, well, maybe this was some kind of cup and handle, some kind of head and shoulders going on, and then we want to break to the upside. So if it breaks through this level, maybe a short retest, and then you head up. If the hourly can roll up into positive territory, it looks like we're going to go fill this gap or go make a new high. But if it rolls down, then we could go fill this gap or make a recent low, okay? So just remember, you got a bunch of gaps down here as well. It's literally, I think, 50-50, and that's why we flipped the coin on it. Yeah, we can look at Nvidia. We haven't looked at that in a moment. Okay, so Nvidia, the big thing here was the daily and the 2-hour able to cross up. Look at this, the 2-hour crossing up going positive. Now you need to get out of this area. Nvidia's looked pretty good. You got a big cup, big handle. You had the little cup and handle in here. That was great, led to this pop. And then you have a little cup and handle in here on the shorter time frames right here. We talked about this live. That little cup and handle that said, hey, this most likely is not going to crash down. Okay, boom. We see that curl up, positive territory. Now what do you need? You need a strong move. You need a strong move for this to fully go bullish, cross above, close above this high. You can start to squeeze. But as the SPY keeps fading back down, it needs to close above this level to squeeze. So right when people get very, very bullish, okay, then it starts going down. But this was expected at this area. So what I would say is now you need people to say like, oh no, this is going to happen again. This is going to happen again. And then boom, we see that drop down, curl back up into positive territory. We'll have to see. I'd sell, but just to be safe and use your own tactics and feelings. Yeah, Kalani, I think that's the best thing to do is to really look at your charts, say, hey, if I'm up money here and I have any kind of emotion of I'm going to take a loss really hard, or like if I don't make money out of this play, it's going to affect my emotion. Throw it away, girl. I mean, well, girl, I just throw it away, whoever you are, because you're going to be emotionally invested in a trade, then it's not the best outlook. I would just say more so you would like to just be like, okay, my emotions are getting to me. Let me reload. Let me relax. There will always be a new trade. Missed out on J&J? Well, what's up with J&J? There's no real 30-minute cross down. No real divergences there. 2-hour? 2-hour not looking the prettiest. But what is this doing? What are we doing on a 30-minute? Well, what would you expect? You're overbought, right? You're overbought. So what happens when you go extremely overbought? Now, we did peak our head above 150.96. Pretty cool. But we see that come up. All right, what happens when we do get extremely overbought? Well, we curl back down to the center line. The second move still can be here. 147.24 for some support there. Look at that. That would be it. So pay attention. If this 30-minute crosses up, you know the next move is most likely going higher from here, taking out this high, making a new one. This area, This area important. You have liquidity in here. We use that liquidity to sell off. But technically, if we wanted to say maybe show this on a 2-hour, you could argue that you're forming the overall cupping here, getting that handle and turn up. So I'd really just pay attention to a 30-minute, not a 15. I'd pay attention to a 30-minute here. See if that's able to curl up. The next positive move is coming. Be quick with it. That move could be brief, but as of right now, nothing really saying like this has to flip over dramatically unless that 30-minute continues to go negative, the hourly goes negative, or the 2-hour starts to cross over. So if this 2-hour crosses over, be worried. But since that hasn't happened yet, it can take some more time. I would say to the bull side, 30-minute curls up, positive territory. To the bear side, 2-hour confirms more downside. We go and fill this gap and we see from there. You look at IWM. Yes, IWM was just added to the Patreon. This thing making a good move above here. Now, IWM, this one here has some great look to it. I know some people are saying could be a little head and shoulders in here, but I'm really seeing like we came up to a point that's pretty important, right, across here. And we end up building all the way up there. We get a deep handle, and we just curl back up into positive territory. Now, you can see a lot from this area, right? When you break out of a zone, what do you like to do? You like to retest it. So what if we go and retest in a little bit here and then see what happens? Well, right now, since it is today that we're seeing this bullish move, we can see the 5-minute creeping into that area and then see if that wants to turn up one more time. Now, something to pay attention to here is what is my daily and my weekly expected moves for the IWM. Got to join Patreon to get those, but I can tell you right now, IWM ran into resistance exactly where you would expect, right in between this little dollar zone, right in between the daily top side and the weekly top side. That's exactly where you expect that resistance to come in. Now we have to see if it can turn around and make another move, but most likely this gets closer to the center line, so dips down a little deeper, maybe even fills this gap. But anytime that turns back up, you can see another bullish move from IWM. Watch out for a 5-minute divergence in this area. That's where those expected moves are. SPY trying to creep up. Q's creeping up. All right, let's see if another big move is coming. Remember, a squeeze, guys? These technicals, in the beginning of a squeeze, these technicals, they'll just go nuts if we start to squeeze here. Maybe I want to look at PCC. Still a little bit towards the, we're climbing back up towards the put side, but big calls coming in. Now we get that pullback. Now people buying those shorts, and then boom, that rips away one more time. We'll have to see what happens with that. But coin, this one had its earnings, right? We see that big good move there. All right, let's see what's going to happen from here. 5-minute curls up, positive territory. Next move coming. Remember, cup. Look at that big cup right up to where you want it, right in this area. Okay, and then we get a handle. Now we maybe head higher. Now this is a 5-minute chart. So if we go look at a 30-minute, it's probably going to look a lot different. All right, 30-minute looks like it needs to back off. All right, so pay attention to that, because what we could be seeing is maybe this is some kind of slanted head and shoulders in here, right? We can draw, I don't even think I took the right wick there, but pretty much something like this. We can draw it across, so maybe just do that for now. But we could see what, well, left, head, we got a big reaction. We may want to dip down a little lower to grab some liquidity down here for some buyers, okay? Some buyers down in this area, and then we see that reaction up. We'll have to see what's coming for coin going forward. Gold, let's go check in on that. Look at that, 30-minute divergence for gold right now. Pretty steep one now. Now you have it. So gold could make a move here. This might be a good little short-term play. So I'm going to take a look at gold real quick. Because I made some good money today, we can look for another play in the future. Now, I also want to look at the 2-hour. Okay, 2-hour is actually creating a slight, maybe divergence there, but just it's been beat up. So I just want to see gold. Okay, what could I do here? Okay, well, let's see. Let's see if anything's really, really, really cheap. Pretty cheap, up to 217. Pretty cheap there, especially for a 3-week out play. So just in case there's a reaction there, gold, always a good thing to look at, right? So Gold looks like we could get this 30-minute 2 cross up. I'm waiting for that confirmation. I just have my info typed in. I'm just going to react to this one. I'm not going to try to put in like a call at a certain level. I'm just going to say, okay, let me wait for this to confirm, get out of structure, and then we can see that start to rise up. Now, the fact that gold's going to go up, what's oil looking like? Oil has some divergences here too. Maybe I want to look at USO to give me a little better structure. Nothing really there. 2 hour, very, very deep. That's kind of saying gold's going to pop for some reason. So something I kind of want to do right now on a 2 hour, pull up. Can I get the SPY over here? All right, 2 hour. And I know I'm just doing this, but I kind of need to do this for my trading. So 2 hour. 2 hour. Gold rises, stock falls. Gold rises, stock falls. Gold lowers, stocks go up. Gold dropped with this move. That's funny. And then we rise up, gold drops off, but now as that fades. Okay, this is something that could add up to the bear side here. This is something that could add up to the bear side. We just kind of looked at it live, but you saw the overall correlation right now is gold up, stocks down, right? I read that right. I'm pretty sure I read that right. Staying patient, learning. Good job, J-Dubs. No, that's great. It's great to just use the smaller amounts and not be leveraged. Dibs on the SPY looking good. So I wonder also if we're going to see... This is interesting, though. Because if that correlation holds, I would say the SPY is going to go down from here. I don't think that's the move. I personally never use leverage or margin. When I invest, I mean, obviously options, slightly leverage there. Leverage to the tits, honestly. But if I'm just taking it as an investment, I'm not doing the TQQQ or anything like that. I'm looking at the individual stocks. And I'm not trying to leverage that account. I'm just using the cash that I got. Tesla bottom, maybe? I'm still going to let those other plays ride, but I'm going to take that play maybe soon on gold, just in case something random or wild happens. As of right now, nothing has changed. I just wanted to take a peek at gold and say, a little bit fishy to see that gain some steam here. A little bit interesting when you compare that, the correlation a little bit. Ulta, oh, you want me to look into Ulta? Are you calling me ugly? Are you calling me ugly? Huh? No, I'm just playing. All right, so the daily here, we got to look at the daily. This thing, all right, so this thing, we have to talk about it from an investment standpoint at this point because you're reaching these lows. That's all I'd say. There's not much you can do with this besides treat it as an investor if you like that price. Now, I mean, you can go into 2 hours, you can go into that, but during a downturn like this, you're always going to see this type of behavior. If you were looking to get into this, remember that this is going up while this is going down. You really want this to get positive. That just tells me this could keep continuing. This could keep continuing, and then finally go positive, and that might be the better moment. I would say scaling in as an investment makes sense. And hopefully you know a little bit more about the fundamentals of the stock, about the earnings and things like that than I do. But as of right now, no real big technicals. Like these divergences here, you want to see divergences with like structure down. You don't necessarily want to see one like this. If you wanted to, you could look at a 4 hour and see like, look, it's just pointing up, but the price is going down. So you have a bunch of little things on the RSI here. I would say as you're approaching this area here, a lot of liquidity there, a lot of stuff in here, right? If we just pull this all the way across, look at all that. So this will be an area where some buyers are interested. It's just how many of them show up at that point. So I would maybe look for a retracement of this too. Like this is a pretty downward move very quickly. So you could get a full reaction all the way back to 511. I mean, if you treat it as an investor, I think this is not the worst thing in the world to think about at this time. Swing traders would say, don't even look at this right now. All right, guys, what's happening with the Qs? What's happening with the Qs? The gold turning up. God, I hope nothing geopolitical happens over the weekend, man. That'd be so lame. Okay, we're looking like... What do we have? Do we have anything going on for us here? I mean, you really need to close above here to squeeze. We got to see what the close is at end of day. And you have HYG confirming the move. You have HGX kind of confirming the move, fading it a little here. The Dow kind of confirming the move, fading it a little here. But you expect some selling in this area. So I think I'll stay strong with it. Dollar going down, so gold goes up. Maybe that's the only correlation here. Maybe that correlation actually comes back. Okay, so maybe that's what we have to look into with the gold play, actually, is the fact that the dollar's coming off, so gold can catch a bid here. Maybe that makes the dollar drop off even more. Thoughts on Nvidia? Well, the 2-hour crossing up for Nvidia is a good sign, but we haven't talked about TLT in a moment, so let's look at this. Curling up, positive territory is what you need to get into to break through this channel. Now, something to pay attention to on TLT was you had this little divergence right here. So this is something that I played and then I got out of just in case it curled over right at this moment. Okay, so I played this, took a short trade to the upside, and then I see weakness, so I'm just like, I'm not going to play around with it. Now we're breaking to the upside. Very good sign. Very good sign to get a clean break. Now we retest. Then we go higher, right? We wanted to break through this important level right here, and that's exactly what we did. We broke through, now we retest, we can head higher. So as the 2-hour goes positive, I would just look for this daily to fully go positive if you're in this. If you're going to see weakness, what are you going to see? Well, the 2-hour is going to roll over negative territory. Most likely this will be a little bit significant to get us down into this zone right here, which just starts at about 86.60. Goes against what's thought, but it's my gut and it's house money. I'm holding into next week. I'm so bullish on Nvidia, and that's perfectly fine. Here's the thing. Gold could get rid of that correlation with the SPY right now if the dollar breaks down, because technically the dollar and gold were kind of going up a little bit at the same time, which is a little interesting, right? Usually it is gold goes up, dollar goes down. So right now we have to see, is the dollar going to keep backing off, and that's going to give the pop in gold. That's what I'm kind of leaning towards now. But the dollar gaining some room here, but this could just be some kind of pullback, all right? I'm just going to be open to that. Now, someone did ask about Nvidia. What's the big thing here? Well, we crossed on the 2-hour. Remember, this is a huge bullish signal. Crossing up positive territory on a 2-hour, where on the last cross up, on the last positive territory move, we did not get oversold or overbought. So that tells me what? We could get some kind of move that gets us overbought over time, right? We could get overbought over time and then look at that, and then we do something like this. I see a 2-hour divergence, and then this might be the top right before or after earnings. So we'll have to see, but the 2-hour going positive, you can start to create a lot of bullish scenarios. Now, the important thing here is you close today. Close today above this level or early next week, but right now I'm saying close today above this level. It's looking pretty bullish as long as nothing geopolitical happens over the weekend. The only reason I'm going to mention geopolitical is because gold looks like it's about to make that move. We need to look at politicians' portfolios. Yeah, you can look at the SEC filings. And even if you guys want the website for that, I'm perfectly open to you guys getting that. If you want to see insider trading forums, you can just type openinsider.com right here and look at what people are buying and selling today. So if I want to look at if people are selling, well, I can do this, see what's being sold as of today. So a lot of these stocks are, it's pretty broad. You can see this Netflix sale right here. How much was Netflix sold? Okay, $10 million. Okay, something like that. Well, that might have been a dividend payment, but nothing really. MU, Micron. There you go, Micron. Someone who is Michael Bocan. He is the worldwide sales SVP, and he sold $1.733 million worth of Micron. You can look down through these lists. Coinbase. Someone sold $2 million. The press COO. Emily Choi. So if you know who that is, Meta Platforms, the GC, not that big of a sale there. So you can look through these and find some good stuff. Part of me, because I made money, I might dedicate that money towards a volatility play just in case. Even though this looks very bullish. It might make me more comfortable if I do a hedge here. But this just looks like like it doesn't look like rapid selling. If anything, it looks like it's going to flag or something. Should have held my Microsoft longer. What did it do? Oh, 405. That's I sold it like 405, but I'm holding the other one. Nvidia earnings, next earnings. I can't tell you that just yet. There's a lot of time before that happens, but we'll give you the moves that are expected for Nvidia for the week, and that's usually what you want to pay attention to. But there's a website you can look for. It's going to give you the plus minus. I can tell you it pretty much adds to the weekly expected moves. Mistake I made a lot is I will pull out the day before it does what I thought. Get off your phones and set stop. Yeah, that happens a lot, and that's what that's what encouraged me even more so to do a longer out play. So the fact that if a move happens and I don't have to get scared out of it, I can really think about it for a minute before I do it. It's going up, Lucas. What's going up? Diana, I'm looking. What website can we use to check the historical implied volatility of stocks? Historical implied volatility. Well, pretty much like I don't know the website, but I see people all the time looking for like, oh, implied volatility for Apple earnings, and then I'll see if I can find the site. But I mean, you guys know that the day before, pretty much the week before, the implied volatility is there. And so here, I'll say it like this. This is pretty good. We'll do it this way to explain it. So Apple's weekly expected move is, let's do this on a daily scale. Apple's weekly expected move from where it started out the week. All right, we started out the week. All right. Start out the week right here at 169.27. Okay, so if I go over to my charts here and I look for where Apple's expected move is, I know that the implied volatility move was about a 9% move up or down. Okay, so what can I do? I can measure from that close on Friday and say, where's my weekly expected move? Okay, it's right up to about 5%. Now we have to look if that actually was that, but overall, the weekly expected moves are going to most likely get it right a lot of the time. Apple didn't price in a big move, which is very interesting, actually. But we know that other things like Meta and Microsoft and all those other things, we were able to price in a solid move. But I'll find the website. How about that? I'll go find the website to give to you guys. All right. I know exactly where to look for it. I just don't want to do it live yet. But I can find it for you, and I'll show you exactly what you can pay attention to for that implied volatility a little bit closer to the earnings. As of right now, though, you're going to have to wait. You have a long time. You have 20 days until that earnings. Right for the stroke sentence, D2. 5 minutes positive. You guys got to be shitting me. Is Goog printing double bottom on the 30-minute? Ooh, I see what you're looking at. Not just yet, but you can read into this and say if this curls up. So here's the cool part about this, right? We say, hey, hourly, we don't want that thing to turn back down. But as that does turn back down, what can we pay attention to? Well, is this going to go negative? Or are we going to just grab some buyers down here and then head up? We'll have to see. But for now, I would say 30-minute. You need that to creep lower to confirm this as divergence. But it is a solid difference a pretty solid difference here, but you notice it's pretty similar to down here. So you would say more so, hey, curls up positive territory. That's what I'm looking for. Because this is a big downward direction, if you're going to get that 30-minute divergence down here with a double bottom, you're most likely going to see a 5-minute divergence down here. So look for this to flag out and then give you a divergence a little lower. That's what I would pay attention to, but be cautious as we go into this area because you do have a left head, maybe a right shoulder forms. But if we can flag out, then come down a little lower, well, then you would test this level, maybe even get a little 5-minute divergence down here. And then that can tell you, okay, the 30-minute divergence confirmed. I'm pretty confident in that move. Google breaking down from here, very surprising. I'm very inclined to say that the weekly expected move is at this area and it is below it at this point. So you have a 68% chance to land higher for Google today. Let me double check those that weekly expected move for you. Get rid of data here. Yeah, you're at the daily expected move bottom side. That's all that is expected for downside for Google as of right now. And now we have the chance actually to get back above 168.23. So your weekly expected move, I lied to you. It's all the way up here, the bottom side. The bottom side. So you have a 68% chance to do this by end of day. But know that the time is shorter. Your time is a lot shorter. So I would just say if this 30-minute can cross up into positive territory, or at least cross above the center line on the RSI, we most likely will see this as some kind of pullback, but we have to just be a little careful. It is rolling into negative, so I would wait for that to go positive, and then you'll probably see the next big push. AMD, strong move. Microsoft, pretty strong move there. Now, I already sold out of this right at about 404, 405. Made my money. I think it was 404 because I could have made another like 20-30%, I think. But this is great. And the reason that this is great is because we're just trading the signals here. This is why I posted this to Patreon, because this is just a good signal. It is a great signal, okay? We can get that reversal. We're above the center line. Everything's pointing up here. As long as something bad doesn't happen, this daily can cross up. Now we have to pay attention to this. So if you're in Microsoft, right? I'm in Microsoft, so I'm talking about my own trade. This is what I would look at. And this is why you should think about taking the course this weekend. You literally have like 24 hours left to get it for 149 to learn how to trade like this, okay? So now that I see that 2-hour divergence, what do I want to do? I want this daily to confirm that. That means I can hold it a little longer. If it goes positive, I can hold it a little longer. But anytime I see weakness up in here on a 30-minute and I see that daily cross back down, what's going to happen? Well, I'm going to have negative territory right there, and we very well might just break through this level, right? Test the low, make a new one. So then maybe we want to go down to the 200. So yes, I believe there's the ability to squeeze, but I'm paying attention to how I could get screwed out of this trade, which is some kind of lower high, or we just don't make it past this level. So I'm looking for weakness on the way up in momentum, and I will scale out when I see that weakness. As of right now, I've scaled out already because this is a big move in one day. All right, cool. I make plenty of money today. Now I can let the rest ride. I'm literally going to break even on this no matter what. I want to learn selling puts and calls next. Be very careful with selling puts and calls. One, owning the underlying stock, but I've seen a lot of accounts that end up owing Robinhood like $20,000 and things like that when they get called. So we look at stocks for puts. So now if you're looking for a stock for some kind of put here, weirdly enough, stuff like this. Right, weirdly enough, stuff like this. Now, that one, not the best. Let's see if SPXS looks any good. Like, these are leveraged, so you got to be careful with them at this area. But that's what I would look for. I would look for USO and things like that to show me some signals of downside. Okay, now this can base out at any time. Shorting. Remember, guys, most of the time the market goes up. It's a lot easier to do calls than puts. And Coca-Cola, we can see if that's probably what you're actually asking about. This is a sign of sellers above you. So I'm going to look at a 2-hour and first off, just see this. Okay, we're starting to point down big divergences here. So what does this tell me? On the 30-minute, I'm going to have divergence. Okay, going into negative territory. So if you're lucky, I'm not saying like, hey, short everything right now. If you're very lucky, Coca-Cola is going to do something great. If you take the course this weekend, you can make a range for Coca-Cola. Now, I'm not going to make it for you. It's not going to be perfect, but I give you a way to make the range on Robinhood. What if the range is right here? And what if this does this early on in the week? What if on Tuesday it's breaking through this and then shows it come back in it? And then we see this happen. Boom, little divergence right here, right by negative territory. That would be a great sign. That would be a great, great signal to follow there. Okay, now what you're worried about in this, if you're looking for something like that, is a 2-hour chart. The 2-hour chart's been growing, been going down for a little bit. We could see that build back up. Even the hourly is probably right by that center line. Look at that divergence there. So divergence on the hourly, if you wanted to really take the direction here, it would say, hey, this is a big divergence. I've got triple divergence on the RSI down here. This is a sign of weakness. You just want to look at those shorter time frames. So if you take a position like where you're at right now, it makes sense. It makes total sense. You have confirmation, but if this turns up on this RSI, I'd look for that 30-minute to do something like this. That would be very telling. I only use 5% on my portfolio for options. Good. Good. That's awesome. Sub. I saw, dude. So if you took something here, the overall position here is actually this bar. So this bar is that position. You're getting up towards it. So I would totally understand taking this. This is something that I would look at. AA. Well, I haven't gone to any meetings lately. Whoa. Looked like Wyckoff for a second. But now we're back in the range. Hmm. 1 hour, I hate you. You're no fun. 2 hour curls up, goes positive, good sign. Good sign, first of all. Now, you did have a huge 2 hour divergence here, so you have to pay attention to the daily scale. Did that roll over? Yes, it has. It's been beat down for a little while, though. You're starting to... This would be a swing trader type of thing, right? We're able to build up. Okay, we buy back up over time. Boom, we rise up, get up to this level. Okay, this cross on the MACD, I can hold that. So this is consolidation at this point. The direction trying to move higher. You cross above this high, the next big move is there. That's what you'd say. Because if you cross above this high, by the time you're doing that, the momentum's curled up and it's confirmed that next upward move, and you have a little bit of room on this RSI. So I would understand this from a swing trading perspective. The funny thing, whenever I see Wyckoff or say Wyckoff, I always think am I saying it right? I always think that. I'm always like whack off, Wyckoff, wick off. On USD JPY this week, but yeah, just take a look at the weekly range. So if we're talking anything dollar-wise, you have to talk about the downside because it's kind of chosen that direction. So the big thing about this was the fake out. So this is a fake out. If this is going to be another fake out, we're just going to see this thing explode. Okay, cool. But as of right now, you'd say this is the fake out. Now we drop back down. I did a contrarian play on the Tesla coin flip and made out big, but honestly, thanks for the analysis help on it. Hey, thank you, Anthony. At least you understand, like, hey, it's a 50-50 flip and you're risking, but it seems like you're quick with it, trading like water. Now, as we're looking at the hourly here, remember that coin can still get it wrong, but it hasn't gotten it wrong yet. We haven't flipped to negative. Now, if I go look at a 30-minute, it's going to be a different story. We could curl down on the 30-minute. I'd really pay attention to this because you're most likely not making a divergence here. And that would get you back into the range. So if we start to take out this low, you're probably going to go fill this gap. Apple drifting down, SPY drifting down, Qs drifting down. So things are starting to get back within their daily expected move. So we really still have to pay attention to 5 minutes. I know that's crazy, but we do have to pay attention to 5 minutes because this is the only, pretty much the only chart that's showing you any kind of consolidation. If anything, I'd make a little flag or something like that and see how this plays out by end of day. Thank you so much for the $9.99, Anthony, and it'll pop up in a second so everyone can cheer for you. We got 20 180 puts at 184 today and just sold them out. Nice job. Against yen pairs, we are down on all currencies around 800 pips. Water will evaporate onto the upside for a ABC up on next 3-day template if we get a setup. Hey, that's some good insight there. Interesting. Now, down on all currencies, the dollar coming down. So did the yen see a good pop? That's what I would be asking. Did the yen see a good pop? Because the dollar did come down dramatically, and now it's bouncing back up. But we have to pay attention to this signal, guys. The 2-hour can still climb back up. Positive territory. There it is, Anthony. Everyone give some claps for Anthony. Thank you so much for the super chat. Did take the trade on gold. All right, so we'll look at gold again real quick just to see if anything's proving here. Now, we're struggling a little bit, right? We're struggling a little, but we can pay attention to this 30-minute. That curls up. That's when I'm going to take a play on it. If that could confirm, like, hey, I want to go positive, then I'll say, all right, show me, and then I'll get into it, and then I'll say, okay, are you going positive? Yes, I am. Okay, I can hold you for a moment. Now, in this area is going to be really important. This 215, 216 left. All right, we react up to there, get that right shoulder, and then we can go up again. So this might be something that I'm quick with. I just take profit here just in case, and then maybe build down to the center line, or take like half profit here, see that curl down, curl back up, get in again, then I can fully make that move, make it a little safer for myself. But it looks solid. It looks solid. That's a very, very good divergence. Do you have a Discord? No, not yet. I am still working with a startup. If I get to a point where YouTube actually pays me more than my other position, then I will most likely start a Discord and things like that. But till then, no. So if you really want to, if you're really dedicated to learning and you like this this style and things like that, you know, I encourage you to take the course. It always encourages me to, hey, yeah, people are dedicated to learning. Maybe I open up to some one-on-one work and things like that. At this moment, I keep trying to do one-on-one work in this month of May, but my baby girl's going through a growth period. I'm searching for a house. I'm working multiple things at once. I trade still, so there's just a lot to do. Genghis Khan, yeah, I plan on it this weekend. If you've already bought it, just remember, you can always hit me up. If you're part of the Patreon, you can send me a message and things like that. So don't think it's just you take it and I'm gone. I will answer questions, and a lot of people can get my back on that, because I've gotten emails from people, I've gotten messages from people, and I still talk to them about the course. Is Nvidia heading to 900? Well, we'll have to see. Nvidia is making the right moves for an upward move. From this area, we could get a little handle. That would make some sense, even on the 30-minute here. So you'll notice this about Nvidia at this point. Yes, the 30-minute can roll negative, but what if that's brief? You want to pay attention to any kind of roll up here, because that might be the bigger move as we are completing a big cup and handle across the way here. We see the drop down from this area. We build back up to there. What do? Big cup, big handle. Okay, now we can be off to the races. If the 2-hour curls up and we cross that high, well, the 2-hour has crossed up, but we have not broken this high. We have not broken it on a closing basis, so we need to close above that. And then once that happens, I would say 900 is very, very probable if that happens going on into next week. And the points you'll pay attention to are these highs, right? So 907, you got to get above that. But I would say it's got a good shot to go to at least, 907 if we can break through this. But the measured move here is a lot bigger, right? So the measured move for this is actually a lot higher. It's actually up towards 1,000. So that's why I was mentioning Nvidia could get to 1,000 before its earnings. Now, if Nvidia gets to 1,000 before its earnings, just know it might be pricing in anything good right away, and it could see a good print in a bad earnings release, or a bad earnings reaction. I'm sorry. It could see a good print in a bad earnings reaction if we buy up dramatically before that. So what do we want to pay attention to? Well, another play would be AMD. This has a 2-hour divergence. I really like the look of this play. I just hate AMD for the last month and a half. I hate it because it's really been behaving negatively on every single signal. So I just traded other stuff, right? This one hurt me a little bit. Good thing I just said, nope, screw that. I'm going to trade something else. And then boom, I made that money back and some when I was trading it, but I haven't been looking at Nvidia or at AMD. Now, I did add this back to my trading list because of this setup. So on my left screen, I have my little trading list, which is all these stocks, just a little bit different drawings, a little bit simpler. I know a lot of people trade differently, so I give more info than what I even use to trade, to be honest. But if this can confirm outside of this zone, that would be very, very good. Why? You can curl up that daily MACD. So it looks like we're going to see a move up as long as these like divergences here don't do anything, right? 30-minute divergence still available here at this high. You need to break through and not confirm this. Nvidia finna go lower. But thank you guys so much for joining. I really do appreciate it. This has been a really fun stream because it seems like a lot of people were able to take the right plays here. Remember, we gave you the flag even for Nvidia. And we told you not to be worried about the drop in the stock market because Nvidia not matching that, the SPY and the Qs not necessarily breaking and closing below the low of the previous day. So all this looked like some good price action and the dollar making that move up, but also trying to crash back down. So I have calls on Nvidia expiring. Okay, so if you have them expiring 5/17, that's perfectly fine. I don't know your price point where you got in. If you got in today, I'd be like, you might have wanted to wait for at least a 5-minute curl up. But at this moment, you're about to break through. If you break through, you can be confident. If you roll over on the 30-minute, you might want to scale out, okay? You might want to, just because, and I'm not telling you that, I'm just telling you if I was trading it, how could I get screwed out of this move upward? Well, if that 30-minute rolls down and goes negative, if that 30-minute rolls down and goes negative, maybe I want to create a divergence here, a 2-hour divergence here. So it could start a negative trend. Now, one thing about this high right here is it's barely higher than this one. So a slightly new high could lead to a more positive reaction here. Get this very overbought, and then we see an ABC pattern. Boom, 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 before we see earnings come out. So we'll pay attention to that going forward. We could even see an ABC on a 2-hour. I'm holding. I scaled in, though. That's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. You guys, as long as you're open to how you can get hurt by a trade, you will be a much better trader than most people, Carlos. If you're like, I'm going to take calls here, but I know this is what I will see if it's going against me, you'll lose less money and you'll have that money to get into the next one and it'll play out for you. I don't know why I'm sneezing so much. Good old Kansas, very, very windy, a lot of pollen. The house I was gonna buy, it fell through. I was trying to buy like a little like a fixer-upper thing. I don't know if it's the dad in me. I just want to work on a yard and paint stuff. I don't know. I just want to work on stuff a little bit. But that fell through. They wanted pretty much 35% above what I was putting in. So I was like, yeah, no. Douglas knows. Topeka. Good old Topeka. Lucas, how does the VIX look going into the close of the day? So really the VIX, you just want to pay attention to this 2-hour crossing. And I know the 30 minutes going to cross, but notice this is very beat up. We don't really have divergences. So yes, we can see that pullback if this goes up, but that has a very good likelihood to just fade. Okay, so what you really want to see is if you get that steam to go up on a 2-hour. I just want to point out the likelihood that we're actually going to squeeze from here is pretty high. Why? Because we're closing below the 200 and the 50, and we're rejecting that crash signal at this moment. So it looks like we're going to see some kind of pop for a little bit of time, but will that lead to selling later on, maybe with CPI in a couple weeks, right? So we get CPI in a couple weeks, and we get a lot more data in a couple weeks too. Like I think I looked at it this morning and it's just like, okay, we could see that positivity because we don't really get a lot of news. We have some Fed speakers next week and stuff. We get some oil news, I think, and things like that. Some bond auctions maybe. But you'd have to say, if we're going to get nothing and the direction is chosen to the upside, then we're probably going to continue that direction until we see something that could be bad. Yeah, the only reason I was doing it now was because it was beat up and they're trying to, and I thought I could offer, the house was beat up, like not horrible, but beat up to where I could work on it and stuff and create value in it, even with the price it's at right now. But they're obviously getting bids that are just like 20% above asking, or the one that we saw was 30% above asking. So I'm still saying this market's not very good to buy a home, obviously, and I'm not going to do it unless I can get a good deal. It doesn't mean I'm not open to a good deal. But if we just look at the housing sector, okay, what's going to happen to the price of those homes? They're probably going to go up for a little bit, which means the inflation play is still here. If they go up here, all right, then if that starts to crash down, well, next year, yeah, you're right, 12 to 18 months from now, we could actually we could see lower prices in the next like 4 months, honestly. But if the housing prices don't necessarily fluctuate as much as, the actual charts here. So the housing sector, most likely that needs to break down first, and then you need to experience some time with that for a few months, or even 6 months to a year, or to 18 months like you're saying, and then that will really be priced in. As of right now, I'm probably seeing some kind of reaction down to here at some point, and then we're going to see this form. But no, pretty much I went in and I offered like, hey, I'm going to have to put a lot of work into this, so I'm offering this. And they're like, no. I'm just like, okay. If I land and put a cabin on it off grid with solar, that's what I did 2 years ago, and I love it. Own 100%, no mortgage, not the one. Yeah, and what I would say about that is I have a buddy that's making a bunch of duplexes. I thought about just buying a duplex and living in one part of it and renting out the other half. That's what I've been thinking about, because I'm more treating whatever house I buy here as some kind of investment, not necessarily a forever home, something I want to work on. But also, I'm a trader. There's a lot of risk that can go in with renters. There's a lot of risk with going into a duplex. And so I would say, why would I do that? Why don't I just buy a home I really like at a good price if that comes over the next year, and then go from there. Saves a lot on taxes too. Did you build your own cabin? I'm a realtor, buy a duplex. There you go. Pitching Academy giving me that. So I have a buddy who's thinking of building I think 4 duplexes on his land. And we're looking at maybe investing in one of those, like 1 unit, so 2. My retirement goal is to own a trailer park. I grew up in one, and I would love to give back to one. In retirement. Hey, I think that's good. I mean, so my wife, her family, well, her mom lived in a mobile home, and she made it really nice. And I have a buddy, that's all he does, and they make crazy cool ones now. And so we've thought about it, but here it's just mobile homes are a little different. The community can be really good or really bad. Well, Florida, they're seeing a lot of investors sell their properties. A lot less people, like Orlando, I know, is seeing price cuts and things like that. There's homes in Orlando right now that were priced at like $400,000 for 1,700 square feet, and now they're knocked off. They're down to like 300,000. They're just like crazy overpriced. Yeah, actually, let's look at, who was it? Who just said they're a realtor? Pitching Academy. What are you seeing in the housing market? Maybe you can tell us what you're seeing. Are you seeing more houses come onto the market where you're at? And how is that affecting the fight between the buyers and the sellers? Because right now it's still probably a seller's market. They are, dude. Douglas is right. So here they're horrible. And I think Kansas is going to struggle with it because of like all the drugs that come through Kansas, because it's middle of the country. 1,200 so far on Google. Bought it low. Thanks. Nice job, Pitching Academy. Move to Amish country. We have a huge Amish community here as well. That's a good plan. Be a good person, please. Yeah, being like, the thing is, like, people always search for money and happiness. You should search for meaning, and then you'll make money and happiness on the way. As one of your older viewers, wait to buy a house. It's going to crash. I own homes in southeastern Florida and a ranch in the Austin area. We sold off 2 large ranches and 4 rentals. There you go. So people are really starting to sell those rentals. Rent is nuts right now. We have at least, and we're only here. Like, I can only imagine the other cities. This isn't even that bad. But when I was in Georgia, it was like a 900 square foot apartment was $2,100 a month, and you had to make 3 times the rent. Each person that lived there had to make 3 times the rent. I was like, what? But no, yeah, let's give a good job to Pitching Academy. That's a very, very good play. $1,200. That's a great day. That's a good day for you. I think the big shift is here, and we're trying to be patient. It's just like you guys gotta imagine. Like, I'm not used to living in this small of quarters, and with a baby, it can drive you absolutely nuts. That's why we go to grandma's a lot. Wichita. I think it's a buy and seller market at different price points. Under 250, probably still seller. 250 to 500 is starting to be. Yes, and those are the levels that I'm noticing even here. Anything above about 350 are seeing dramatic price cuts. I have nobody to fish with the during week. Sit tight, it will make you wealthy. Hell yeah, let's go. Hey, what fish are you out there catching? I don't fish very often, but I love going to Table Rock or the Ozarks and just doing some troll fishing. Is that what it is? Troll fishing, I think. But yeah, what's happening, I think, is a lot of people who would originally buy a $300,000 home are having to buy a $200,000 home. So it's almost creating these buyers because of the interest rates that are in a category above having to go lower, which causes that category of 200 to have to go lower. And now the $100,000 homes, at least here, are just gone. If there's 3 bedrooms, it's gone within like days. Where's the link for what, Diana? I'll get you. Beautiful place to learn to fly. Yeah, so my sister works at Jabara. She gets to see, like, she met Jonah Hill once and he was wasted. It's really funny, but she works with private planes, and she has her own company now. So my sister has her own company. If you're a pilot and you fly into here, she makes she first of all gets you into a housing situation. So if you need somewhere to stay, they have good rates for you and good hotels. And then also they do like charcuterie boards and food for you and stuff like that. Pretty cool. Table Rock is the best cliff diving too. I bet you we've jumped off the same cliffs, Douglas. You think we will see more failing soon? Yes. Now, why do I think we will see more failing soon, Georgie? Because Jerome Powell said we would. Now, the thing with that is JS would probably say something about this if we're going to see those banks fail. I don't know why I'm on the dollar still. Maybe we want to look at volatility. Volatility's still dropping off, now below 14. The thing, I just forgot. The thing with banks is if the smaller ones fail, we can continue to keep this market manipulated by the big banks buying it. It's once a big bank starts to struggle that, or if all the small banks fail at the same time. But Jerome Powell himself said some banks will fail. Okay, so we're paying attention to that statement. Also, we're paying attention to the SPY on the 5-minute. Look at that. Curls down to the center line. What did we tell you before any of this happened? All right, it's probably going to curl down to the center line. We broke out of an important zone. If we want to blow past it, a lot of the time, we dip down into it, and then we see that next move higher. As long as we end the day up in this area, it's going to be a good sign. As long as we end the day up in here, maybe even out of this zone, that would be even more bullish. Qs, similar thing happening. Look at the flag going on there. Now we see that happen in here where we come up. Now note here that this low is a little lower, so if we want that more structure to head up, we might get that retest before that happens. I think that the big thing would be if like a big bank fails and no one can buy them out, and the government, obviously the government could just print money and save it, which don't even get me started. Don't even get me started on 2007, 2008. But overall, you would say, okay, if these small banks all fail very rapidly, that would be bad. If they fail, if one big bank fails, that would be very bad. So you would say that would be something to pay attention to. But yes, I believe banks will fail because Jerome Powell said it. No, for what people are selling, look up insider trades, I think. This is called openinsider.com. Openinsider.com. Now note that those aren't going to make reactions like in real time. But that told us that Jeff Bezos was selling Amazon when we said, hey, there's insider selling here, and then it finally dropped down to 166, right? So we can still pay and know that they scale out. They don't just take everything out all at once, and they probably still have something in the stock, right? They might have even got back in. We could check the buying, but we just looked at this. throughout all of this, we saw Jeff Bezos name in the Open Insider a lot. So that just tells me that. And then Meta as well, which experienced a significant drop. Well, we saw Mark Zuckerberg sold a lot throughout this move. So that just told us, hey, there's weakness coming. And we just need to pay attention to the signals, right? So the daily signals here giving you some divergences. All right, well, where's that divergence right here? Great trade setup for a big put option. I really should have probably taken this one. That's a huge downturn there. Waiting for AMD to get that confirmation, waiting for the Qs to confirm that next move higher. Able to stay green for today. Let's see what's going on. See if it's ripped away. Remember that it is a Friday, so we most likely will see some selling at some point towards the end of the day. So I would say maybe a 5-minute divergence tells you when that selling is going to come in. If we get a 5-minute divergence to confirm and go negative, you might get a little bit bigger pullback down to here again. And then you'd say left head, right shoulder if I'm going to break down. And we'll talk about that this weekend. All right, and Google on my other screen here coming down. If you like that, if you needed to know something about Google here, joining the Patreon will really help, because Google going down to that daily expected move that was posted on Google or on Patreon and starting to head upward from here, not able to cross down into negative territory for the MACD there. So now you have the potential to curl back up and get back within your range for Google. We'll have to see if that's going to happen. Still can turn around. What about Tesla? Well, remember the magical coin told us that Tesla is going to make an upward move in the next 24 hours. We'll say that. And by Monday's close, apparently the coin saying Tesla's going to make an upward move, because this is a 50-50 flip here. Now you would say if that crosses over, strong move here. Okay, we can go off to the races, go up towards 205. Maybe pay attention to our weekly expected moves next week, because if Tesla has some kind of breakout, and then we see that weekly expected move right here, well, who's to say this goes like this early on in the week and that's ripped away? We'll find out. We don't really get data or anything, so that would be very surprising. I want to start by buying investment property in like Texas, Vegas to get better return. What's your price range? Better market returns in Wichita. Price range Wichita would be pretty much what is it? A lot of the time people keep it simple and do $500 to $600 per bedroom. Usually it's like, okay, if it's 3-bedroom, 1 bath, it's probably $500 per bedroom, so $1,500 a month. And then if it's 3-bedroom, 2 bath, you go $600 a bedroom. Capture this. Hey, okay, yeah, I'm buying Tesla puts. All right, yeah, go against the coin this time. It got it right last time. No, you're not dumb. It's just the pretty much the confirmation of the sentiment most likely comes next week. Why is that? Because people have the whole weekend to mull it over, look at a bunch of YouTube videos, look at all this stuff, decide what they want to do with their money, and then make a play on Monday. We'll have to see. Yeah, the return here, the price of the home is what's good here for the most part. Average into a contract and sell daily, you bank. Yeah, kind of. All right, guys, so we are going to just run through some stuff here. We're just going to run through it, all right? The 2-hour was able to curl up for the SPY, and we got that confirmation on a red bar. You'd like to see a better confirmation. Remember, we close above this level. It's looking very, very good to the upside. Why? Because of the daily. The daily crossing up on the MACD here, strong move forward. If we can push above this 50, which would take us above this high, close above that high there, well, the potential to squeeze outside of this zone is good. And we don't get too much data, so this could just keep ripping. Don't be fooled. Now, why could this keep ripping? Well, the volatility is dropping below the 200 and the 50 here. So now we're aware, hey, we can make a move all the way down to 1212 if we want. So keep that in mind. As far as the nearest price action, right, 5-minute, looks like it might want to curl up and go positive here. Still needs to curl up. That could be brief. This curl up could be brief. And just note here, we're back within the daily range. So this can be resistance again. If we blow past it, look out for a divergence by end of day. Maybe we do want to close down a little bit, but if we do close above that level, it's looking pretty good. Flagged out here for the Qs, could head up on the 5-minute. Very, very similar things we're paying attention to. One thing is you still don't want that 30-minute to go negative, right? Now this can curl down. This can curl down, fill this gap, and then go positive, and maybe that weekly range is somewhere down here, and we do something like this early on. We can pay attention to that. But if this daily momentum takes over, I would be very hesitant. Remember my rules. If I see a green bar on the histogram, on the MACD, crossing up, and the potential to go positive, I'm not shorting this, you guys. I'm not shorting this. I have one hedge with volatility, but that thing's starting to be worth a lot less because volatility is going way down, but that's okay because my hedge is just in case something bad happens. Nothing bad happening here just yet, so we have the potential to squeeze, and that's overall what I think could happen going forward. Not trying to fight against this. Now we could consolidate for a little bit, let that 5-day catch up, and then the big move comes. We'll have to see as we're up above it just a little bit. Now, if this 5-day crosses that 20, look out. We're probably going to top Bollinger. Apple, well outside of its ranges at this point, outside its day, like outside of everything. So if that wanted to pull back, that makes sense. We blow through a zone, we hit the next one, we sell off that zone, and then we see that reaction up with an ABC pattern. We'll have to see what happens with this. You're outside of the Bollinger Band, so you do have a chance to catch back up to this 5-day moving average before you make that move higher. I want to make that very clear on Apple. What am I paying attention to on Apple? Well, when we see a big move, what usually happens? 30-minute curls down towards the center line, and then I can play the next move up. So we could see some consolidation, whether that's going to be slightly sideways and down, maybe even go all the way to this zone, and then see that reaction up. Watch this MACD curl back up. So I did not take the Apple play. It was around its own earnings. I did take other plays, though. Now, Tesla, remember that the coin's calling this as positive, but it's a freaking coin. So what we want to pay attention to is how we can actually know which way Tesla's going to go. I would say if this crosses up and gets above this level going positive, okay, new positive move. I would say test the gap fill or go make a new high. At this point, you need that to curl up, but notice it's right by the center line. So if it wants to curl down, slight edge to the bulls, still a positive trend. But if this curls down and goes negative, you're most likely going to go fill this gap down here towards 170. And we can pay attention to maybe some weekly expected moves next week. There's going to be a little less volatility priced in next week, I think. Now, Amazon seeing a well extended move on an hourly, overextended on the 30-minute, just barely. The reason I'm saying it's overextended is because you still have potential for divergence in this area. Okay, you see the divergence across the way, you see that flatness of the MACD, right? Actually, it's coming above it, so that's getting violated. Not the best divergence. Any pullback from here could be met with some buying. And that's a big thing to mention with the SPY is now it's an environment where pullbacks will be met with buyers instead of those pops met with sellers. Just remember that flip is happening in real time. Now, we have to pay attention to Nvidia. Why? Because this one has a divergence, right? This is the point we need to blow past to see that positivity come in, and we're struggling. We could have a double top here, so we're paying attention to this. If this rolls over and goes negative, going to say, hey, I don't want to take any calls here. But if this can roll over and base out and then roll up at any time, okay, well, if that stays up here, I'd be very, very confident that we're going to push through this level. Remember, this is the cup. We could get a small handle here before we head higher. AMD, this one looking pretty good. Now the 30-minute is climbing up towards that center line, so be worried if this starts to drop off. Now AMD, I have a small position in this at this point, and we're seeing if this can curl up into positive territory. If that drops right back down, I'm out of that position. I scale in later on, and then that 2-hour divergence is going to confirm later. A lot of the time you want to make a 30-minute divergence. I'm just thinking with the environment we're in, we have potential for a squeeze. So I'm getting in at a good price point. Okay, so if this 2-hour confirms, you're looking pretty bullish. Why? You can start to curl up the daily MACD for AMD, which could lead to a significant pop. Why? You actually have a small divergence down here on the RSI and the MACD at the same time if you can go positive right now. Small divergence right here, small divergence down here on the RSI. So AMD looking like it might actually be a buy right around this 200 for some kind of play to the upside. If that 2-hour can roll up, I can be more confident in that move. Reaction up to 183.20 could very well be possible. Sorry, little man was barking for a second. Now, Meta going forward, what's it doing? It's trying to take back 453.08, and this is the level that you really have to pay attention to here, because if we can retake that, well, then that support's back. So that support can be back in play, and we can see an upward move. So what do I want to see? Well, we can look at a 2 hour. It's getting close to the center line right as we're testing that level. So you really got to take this back, because if you start to flip over on these 2 hours, these hourlies that are really close to the center line, you could see another reaction down, and then I'd pay attention to my weekly expected moves next week. But to scale into a position. But as of right now, Meta trying to take that level back. If we can squeeze, it's going to. Now, Microsoft, this was the great play here. I already took profit in the morning. So anything I have running here is pretty much just house money. And now I can see I have a longer position in this. So if this wants to extend for some time, remember, 2 hour triple divergence, very strong signal. That's why I posted it to Patreon. All right. That can curl up this daily. What could happen from there? Well, we could just rip and then see that ripped away later on, create another point of divergence. What if we do this and create another point of divergence, or we just curl down at any time with this resistance up in this area? Okay, so I'm paying attention to if that daily can roll back down, but this looks pretty damn good here. As long as we hold like that by end of day, pretty good. Google dropping down. Now, this was very cool to see on my other screen because I have the daily expected moves up. I'm going to tell you right now. End of the stream, I'll tell you right now. All right, daily expected move right here. Right where those closings are. You see that closing? That's where the daily expected move was. Boom, we see that reaction down. Now we're starting to pop a little bit. So we're still paying attention to one thing for Google to the upside, the hourly turning up into positive territory. Now, it failed to do it once. Will it fail to do it twice? We'll have to see, but this is very close to the center line. If that rotates down, takes out this low, you're most likely going to go fill this gap down towards 157. So a 10-point move down, getting kind of tight, getting consolidating in here. So liquidity being built. And now we're going to probably see a big move coming. Which way would that be? Well, if I cross and go positive, cross above this high, most likely I go up, test this close, I would say, this gap up here, or go make a new one. And then if we roll down from here, we're going to break this low. Well, we're going to gap down. We're going to go test this gap. That's what I would say for Google going forward. Now, real quick, you just want to be on your toes. We're talking about some squeezing and things like that. But if this 2 hour confirms at any time over the next 24 hours in trading, I would say, so the next 3 days, that would be a sign that volatility is coming back in, and we could see some selling off by end of day. So just make sure that's not confirming or anything today or going on into Monday. HYG is confirming the move higher. Okay, so this move is real. TLT confirming the move higher. So this move is real. Now, gold is the only interesting thing here, really. Gold looking like some divergence down here. So we might actually go into a time where the correct correlation comes back, where gold goes up and the dollar actually goes down. So, right, you usually see gold going up. Okay, that means the dollar's coming down. Right now, the dollar is coming down, and gold could see that push, and that might be back. So that correlation could come back into play, and I want you to be aware of it. Open a meta put just now. Hey, that's all right. I totally respect anything you guys are doing. Just make sure that if you're just doing things at random or your strategy is not working out for you, there is a course you can take over the weekend, $149 for until tomorrow night. Okay, so get that. You can literally learn it. Take it over a weekend. Ask me questions about it. I'm pretty quick to get back to emails, probably within like 48 hours. So you can get information and become a better trader over the weekend, and then really put it to the test throughout the next week and see if it just adds anything to your strategy right now. Maybe your strategy is good. You just need it to become great by learning a few things. So I would highly encourage that. It's done a lot of good for people. That's all I hear about it. That's why I'm putting a sale on it before, the fact that we're seeing another upward push, and if we see another squeeze, that means you still have more time to learn before volatility truly comes back in the market. When volatility is back in the market, it is a market designed to rip away profits from both bulls and bears. Okay? And all we have to do is pay attention to what's been happening lately. Okay? So right when everyone gets very bearish, what happens? Well, we see some kind of pop. Then right when everyone says that's the recovery, we see a drop. Then when everyone says we're going to test this low, we see a pop. And then they get trapped up here, we see a drop. What happens during FOMC? We pop. Then we go to a daily expected move, we drop. So this is a very complicated market, and this is the type of behavior you're going to see in a bear market. And I highly encourage you to gain some skills because a lot harder to trade in. So 149 until tomorrow night, and then that price is going to go up. So thank you guys so much for joining. Really, really do appreciate you guys being here. Today was a lot of fun, and we're going to have more fun. I'm still going to be watching stocks, and you guys know that I'll be putting out my weekend video, and we'll talk about the macro side of things a little bit as we fade this move. We weren't able to confirm that next move higher, okay? So let's pay attention to any downside that can come. Let's pay attention to those 30 minutes rolling over on those MACDs. That's going to be huge. Thank you guys for tuning in. I really, really do appreciate it. Congratulations to everyone who was able to make money in the market today. I hope the information that you got today was very, very helpful. Thank you for liking, subscribing, joining the Patreon, taking the court. You guys are fantastic. I wish you nothing but luck for the rest of the day, especially you zero DTE traders out there. And if you're a position trader like me, well, let's just follow these signals and we'll be just fine trading like water out there today. So thank you guys so much for joining in today. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I'll see you tomorrow for some macro stuff, and I'll see you on Sunday so we can get you those weekly expected moves. Talk to you later, guys. Peace out. Oh God, Leo put in. Oh God, why those emojis make me think gross things? Should that just be our t-shirt symbol? Just the water emoji like that? Bye guys, have a good day.